Welcome to the Nomad Network, your first stop for complete and comprehensive Chicago Bears football coverage. Dive deep into analyses, updates, and all things Bears. Subscribe to our YouTube channel today and never miss a beat. Thank you in advance for your support. We promise to bring you the best because together we're unstoppable. Go Bears!
Yo, Nomaniacs. Welcome to this edition of Nomad at Night, where the real off season begins. And it begins in earnest now. This is the real, let's just say, the Bears go dark at this time of the year, unless something ridiculous happened. We hope that Ben Johnson had a great conversation with these players before sending them off to their vacations, pre-training camp, and doing whatever they're going to do before they start training again. And, I fantasize and think about, what I would say to a bunch of 20-something-year-olds, maybe early 30-year-olds before they get a whole bunch of free time to themselves. And
keep your hands off your spouse.
And little stuff like that, it's like stuff that you shouldn't have to say, but you have to.
Don't be strapped without a permit doing 100 miles an hour.
How about this? Get a damn Uber, man. Don't be driving nowhere. In matter of fact, even if you're anywhere in the Lake Forest area, damn it, call me. I'll send somebody to get you. But don't go nowhere. Just you never know if you're gonna have something to drink or whatever you're gonna do. But just Lord have mercy, don't get DUIs and get caught with all this different kind of stuff. Get your stuff together, man. But try telling that to a bunch of 20-something-year-olds. But there's got to be a certain understanding before they leave that facility and go off and have this amount of time. And I've been pretty proud of the Bears for the past 2-3 years since Poles has been here. We've had a pretty good track record, man. So, shout out to them boys. Have a good time. Now we get to work and do a lot of work to have to, fill in the dark spots because really no content to be given other than what you can create. And so this is when content creators in the Bears vicinity, people like me, I never stop working. So I'm going to always come up with the storylines. We're going to always be having something to talk about over here, and it's always going to be interesting. We got that for you tonight. So without further ado, let me go and alley-oop this thing and see if Trip ate too much. He can get up to the rim this week.
Oh, no. Tell me I eat. Oh, yeah, some ribs. That's right.
Oh,
delicious. Mac and cheese, Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, up to the rim. Oh no, my knees ain't going for that shit. I'll stand out like what do you call it? The mid range, and I'll pick and pop all day. That's I'll go in for the rebounds, but I ain't jumping for them shit. So I'm gonna throw some elbows up in there and use my body weight, get position.
At that age, you just get rebounds, man. Just get the bounds.
That's my game. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, you mean run to the other court to play offense? Yeah, I'll meet you down there. I'll meet you down there. Oh, damn, y'all back already? That was fast. Well, I'm here. Shit.
They call that cherry picking in the hood.
Hey, cherries are delicious. And I can even, like the stems, can you make a knot with your tongue with a cherry stem?
Oh, hell. Hell no. You got to have a long-ass tongue to do something like that.
Hey, now.
Hell no. I've seen that on TV. No, I can't do that.
Well, yeah, it's just a talent, a skill, if you will. I don't know. But it's something that you pick up. But yeah, there's cherry picking. Yeah, I'm all about it. But big up Bears fans, football fans. Naj is up in here, Levante, Crimson. And kids, he's Hollywood. He'll be here in a little bit. But yeah, it's like it's mid-June. OTAs are over. There's a little break, and we here talking about football. So Nomad, kids, myself, all of everybody in the chat listening, psychos we all are. And we embrace that shit. So yeah, welcome one and all.
Amen to that. Amen to that. But let me start this off the right way. And I want to just send rest and power, man. Peace and blessings to Alden Smith, former 49er edge rusher. Details, I don't know. Details have emerged yet about what actually happened. I think he's like 36 at this point, something like that, somewhere in his 30s. But he suddenly passed away yesterday or the day before, late the day before, and we found out about it yesterday. But interestingly enough, I listened to somebody had him on a podcast a couple of days ago. It might have been his last public words, man. I just don't know, man. I really believe, man, CTE and right about now, mental illness and football are in a cocktail right now. And we're learning a lot about post football, and actually during football, people be having stuff going on, but they just fight through it because they want to satisfy the fan base. And it breaks my heart to hear these stories, man. It's like I finally seen, unfortunately, I seen a piece of the video, the guy that we talked about a few months ago, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive tackle. Forget his name off the top of my head, but he passed away in a homeless encampment in LA. And the piece of that video was horrifying, man. It was horrifying. And, all the word was he was dealing with some bad CTE and some bad head trauma, and he just wasn't right. But, man, it was terrible to listen to. I had to turn it off. It was that bad.
Shout out. Who are you talking about? Who passed away?
Alden Smith, former 49er, defensive end, edge.
Thank you, Levante. Thank you, bro. Well, go ahead. Alden Smith.
Go ahead, kids, because kids is in a state of shock right now.
Alden Smith, man. You remember Alden Smith?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
He was a badass he was part of that dangerous 49ers defense. He passed away. So wait a second. Was he the one that passed away in the homeless encampment?
No, that was Kevin. That was Kevin something. I can't think of his last name right now. That's a completely different situation.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the details I don't know yet. It might be out. Somebody might know some stuff, but I don't. It's sad.
Like you're saying it, I'm looking at Twitter, and it's the first thing to pop up on my Twitter right now. I haven't been on Twitter all day. Man, rest in peace to Alden Smith, man. You think it's a CTE thing?
We don't know because it's way too early, but you can't say that it's not. But I know this is not a different subject. It is actually the same subject. But as I've gotten older and more in tune to what I believe in the universe, I don't like to say rest in peace or rest in heaven, because part of me not part of me, but only sees Earth in this human form as a part of a journey. So I'm more of the heavy D mind of peaceful journey, because you've experienced the human form on this planet now. Whatever that light, that spirit, that soul is journeying on someplace else. It's only the human carcass that remains, whether it's cremated or buried. It's not resting, and your inner being is on to the next realm, universe, chapter, and that's just kind of a metaphysical, I guess, way I look at death now. It's not an ending; it's just a beginning in a different form.
It's funny, Trip. You and I share some similar background at times, with your journey with Third Rail and things along those lines. I have a homie who's sort of my third rail. His name is DJ Duckett. Shout out to Duckett's. His show is called Peaceful Journey for very similar reasons, and I just wanted to sort of bring the two things together because you've made the Peaceful Journey reference twice now, and both times this has been the second time. I'm like, you know what? I should sort of line some of these things up, man. Duckett's does a great show. I've freestyled on Duckett's show about 100 times. Over the decades, but shout out to him and the work that he does here in Ontario, in the college scene. Again, very, very similar, like I say, very similar little background stories, but Douglas does some wild DJing and has done it for many years. There's a longer story to how some of that came about that includes guys like Tom Green and God knows who else, but anyways, back to the matter at hand. Regardless as to what the affliction is or what really hit Alden Smith, along the lines of what you're saying, we're all forms of energy. Energy never truly can be extinguished. So again, peace on to that next journey, bro.
You know what, man? It's a funny thing because I can listen to him talk and I can tell football wasn't the most important thing to him, and not in the worst way. I don't mean that in a way like, oh, he was just disinterested in it. No, it wasn't that. I think people loved him as a football player more than he had even confidence in himself as a football player. And he talked about this on a podcast. I'm telling you, the last podcast he was on, he had no self-esteem whatsoever. He was unsure of himself the whole entire time he was tearing up the league. He was unsure of himself, but the more and more people start pouring into him and believing in him, the more he believed in what he can do. And so, like, I don't know, when people have to leave the game for whatever reason, he had all kinds of off-field issues, substance issues, and all kinds of stuff that he had going on, which will be reported about and talked about at some point after this is kind of calmed down a little bit. But, when your relationship to the game when you're playing it, like somebody like myself that was just absolute smitten by the game and everything that came with it. I mean, everything. People like me, my departure from football, it was so painful. I know a lot of people that just quit playing football and they just live a life and they didn't have any kind of residuals to it. Like, it hurt my soul. And so listening to him talk about it in a different way, like, he's dealing with all kinds of mental stuff as he's going through all this stuff. And we just thinking he the best thing in the world, lo and behold, behind the scenes, behind that helmet, he's dealing with a lot of stuff in his head. And, his departure when he had to part ways with football, I don't know, football parted ways with him, the NFL, because of so many infractions, or he decided he wasn't going to play no more. But it's an easier split for somebody like Alden Smith and having to deal with some of his trauma than it was for me personally, just leaving the game altogether and not being able to physically put my hands on it. And so, hey, again, man, like Tripp says, peaceful journey, but man, everybody's part from the game is different, man. When you part from it, it's a different thing. I've been thinking about that a lot this week.
That's a deep, man. It's a deep conversation piece, brother, because like, not to take anything away from Alden Smith's mental state or even yours, but even the comparison of yourself to Alden Smith in this situation is really questionable because, my guy got to make it to the NFL and he made a whole bunch of money, and I'm sure he changed his entire lifestyle and potentially the lifestyle or livelihood of many other people, whether that's family, friends, women he encountered, who knows. But, one would think, and this just goes to show that more money, more problems. One would think that, again, elevating to that level in the sport, and going through it for many years and excelling in the sport, you would feel at least a little bit fulfilled in life. And I'm really not even talking about the money aspect, but getting there and doing it, you know. But even that sometimes leaves folks as an empty hole. So all that to say, I don't, you know, trauma affects, like, it's crazy, man. Trauma affects us all almost exactly the same, and it's just different. It's not even different brands of trauma or levels of trauma. It's just different people experiencing different traumas.
What I'm trying to say, kids, is I was one of the people who couldn't do nothing without it.
Brother, I'm sure he's probably the same after he left it, right?
No, he's more like, I really never wanted nothing to do with it, but here we go.
Kid, let me ask you that. Nomad, I mean, kids, have you ever been hit in the head and seen that spark of white light and that shock?
That was one hell of a bar fight, but yeah.
But right then, that could be enough to give you, you know, some roadmap to CTE. Brother, how many of those does it take? Nomad, as a player, how many times did you get your bell rung like that?
It only takes
like that twice.
Okay.
It only takes one. I seen another brother and like
wait, hold on, kid. Like what you're describing, Trips, only once, but 2 concussions.
And so the second concussion, it wasn't like a shock like that?
No, it was just more of a jolt. But a bad headache.
Could you feel your brain sloshing around in there?
No, you feel none of that shit. You all you feel is a permeating headache. Feel like somebody got a sledgehammer to your head, like a jackhammer. It's just pounding. Like the other one felt like the best. I don't know what the best drug in the world felt like, but I was floating, and it was nothing like that. And so there's 2 types of concussions you can get. The severe ones knock you out and you don't regain consciousness for at least a short period of time. The less severe ones are the one that hurt the most, from what I understand from them.
Man, I know this guy was an MC, but he was also like in the streets. He was a gangster. Like imagine that. In any event, this cat got pistol whipped, man. And like I battled this guy many moons ago and beat him, but we used to freestyle together all the time, and we bumped into each other about 2 weeks after he got pistol whipped in a bar. And when I bumped into him, I was like, "Hey man, like I heard about what happened. It was like a thing. Like, how did that go down?" And he's kind of telling me the story about what went down 2 weeks ago. And then he gives me this look, and I'm gonna pull my shit, and just this stare, and his mouth was all pursed up, and he just stopped mid-sentence and couldn't speak anymore. And I'm looking at him, I'm going, "Mo, like, what's up, man? What's going on?" And he couldn't speak. And next thing you know, he was just like, "Yo, hold on." And the homie just turned around, he spun him 360 and left. And when this guy leaves, he calls an ambulance. Ambulance comes, picks him up, takes him away. So I wound up seeing him maybe 2 months later. I was like, "Bro, that was the weirdest thing. I saw the ambulance come get you. What happened?" My boy went into seizure maybe 10 minutes later in the ambulance after getting pistol whipped in this situation. Like, all it takes is one time. But real talk, my boy ain't never rapped again. After that pistol whip, never. No, he couldn't. He just like, I can't even.
Don't be surprised by that. A concussion can dramatically change and alter how your brain is functioning. Your brain is on an island sloshing around a bunch of fluid. And
that's just what perplexes, confuses, irritates, me about, myself included, the fan base when players go down with concussion. And it's like, well, dude, he's been out for like 2 weeks already. What the fuck? And it's like, dude, all the things that we're talking about, the effects of the concussion are going on, and we don't feel that. We don't see that. we don't have to deal with that. But also the NFL in general and the players union, if the guardian caps can help minimize the effects or the number of concussions, mandate them shits. I don't care what they look like. It's just safety thing. The NFL can't, get natural grass surfaces for their players, but we look at the World Cup and all of these NFL stadiums play on these natural grass surfaces. And it's like the amount of investment that the league has in these players and expanding games and expanding travel, player safety just seems like very, very, very low on the list. And nobody's
damn right.
up.
I'll tell you another situation that you can quickly get one. One time it was a 50-50 ball. I was going up with the receiver to go challenge it. We both came down flat on our head and swack on the ground, swacked our heads on the ground. I'm the one that ended up getting pulled out of the game. Didn't end up with a concussion, but I know when I stood up, I felt like I had drunk a whole fifth of something for about a good 10, 15 seconds. And by the time I got all the way, past everybody, I was all the way right. And then, getting examined, I was perfect by that time. You can slightly F yourself around and then still not have a concussion. But I knew it was something wrong immediately. As soon as I came down on my head, got back up, that's probably why the ref came and grabbed me, because I was probably woozy, wobbling around. But that wasn't a concussion situation, but I felt that. So it happens all the time during the game. Live games that we watch, you see them dudes go up in the air for those balls and they come down and buggy whip that head on the ground. Somebody's dealing with something, even if it's just for a few seconds. They dealing with it.
I'm just where Triff was a minute ago, man, and man, like the NFL makes a lot of money, man. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I'm going. They make a lot of money, and you would think that the league, and I don't mean the individual teams and the individual stadium owners and things along that line. I think the league should mandate and also put money towards player safety in this regard. Like, these things should, like turf, just the turf alone, or playing surface, if you will. That should be a league mandated thing that they vetted. This is our regulated playing surface that we've approved. We're going to put 50% of the money up for that playing surface in every stadium. The rest, the other 50%, is paid for by the stadium owners itself. Something, or you invest yourself. I'm gonna move myself up here, man. You invest yourself in.
I got the other chat up. You ain't have to do that. I got the other chat up. I just forgot I did.
It's all good. Just leave it the way that it is. But you know what I mean? If the league gives a damn about the player's safety, and this is not CTE, this is stuff like ankles and soft tissue and things along those lines,
ACLs and stuff.
ACLs, MCLs, these are things that really they could potentially actually solve and help. They should be doing that. The helmet issue, yeah. So the Guardian cap exists as much as it makes you look like, dark helmet for Spaceballs. I would you still have to do something along those lines to protect the players, especially given what we're talking about here. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Antonio Brown ain't been right since Vontaze Burfict. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Hey, kids, let me tell you something that I imagine with the advent of technology, AI, and just data systems. I just imagine this. Now, I could tell you some stuff, but I ain't gonna say it right now because it's beside the point. But I'm gonna tell you this: I can imagine smart helmets one day that have some kind of plasma infused, coating inside the helmet,
like bladders.
Yeah, like it's the millisecond it knows that it's just made contact, it swells up and protects the stability of the head and neck.
Like straight
I
up
don't
and
even know
down.
if that makes sense in what I just described.
What you like, not necessarily, but necessarily. So I could quite frankly make something like that myself. If somebody wanted to throw me a little bit of cash, I can make that. That's not hard to make. It's honestly not.
Well, I think that's kind of what the Guardian helmet is based on, except it's not electronic or smart. It's just more sections that cushion individually, kind of thing, like a padding, but different.
So the padding piece is one thing. It's to provide a secondary layer of cushion when the impact hits externally, like outside of the helmet, as a part of the helmet. You could do it externally, you could do it internally. But what Nomad's sort of leaning towards is like it's along the lines of what I was saying about the football on this show maybe a year and a half ago, right? If you put a SIM card and a circuit board in a football, and like you can track anything in today's world. Like I sell asset trackers that are like the size of a stamp, right? Like air tags. You can have something like
the stuff like how they know how many miles per hour they're running or whatever.
100%. Like you could put stuff like that in clothing in today's world. You could put stuff like that in a football. You could put it in a helmet, right? And report that information upstream. Oh snap! This is a situation where
I get that
the accelerometer detects how much impact it is.
Well, I think what let me see. Wait, first of all, let's get on the same page. Guardian helmets, officially known as Guardian caps, are soft shell pads worn over traditional hard football helmets to mitigate head injuries. They work by absorbing and dispersing the force of collisions, effectively reducing the severity of the hits to the head. And I think what Nomad is describing would be like a smart Guardian helmet that would deploy more resources to where that point of contact is, rather than having the static, just padded Guardian helmets where they are now, kind of thing.
You wouldn't even see it. In fact, matter of fact, it's so smart that it can, as soon as you're in, it's like proximity. It triggers from proximity. So say you're running back in the backfield, it's just being regular, right? The minute you get outside of the backfield and get into traffic, that thing is triggered and it knows to start swelling up from the inside. The plasma starts to, swell up and protect your head and your neck. And so you feel a slight amount of pressure as you're getting into proximity of contact. You get what I'm saying now? So it knows by proximity that you're about to be in a high collision zone. So it swells up to protect your head. Sounds crazy, but that's where I can see this thing going.
As a vision, that what you're describing would be a little bit harder to just a little bit, and I'll explain why. It'd be a little bit harder to build. Now, the main factor would be that everybody would have to wear this specific helmet in order for what you're sort of saying to work, because in order to differentiate your helmet as that running back versus the other 10 helmets that are on your side of the football versus the other 11 helmets that are on the other side of the football, right? So you kind of want to be able to determine what's friendly and what's not. And when you're in enemy territory, then that would deploy in that case scenario or become.
It doesn't even matter. It's gonna swell and tighten soon as you get around people, proximity to a bunch of people, which the smart helmet is going to deem as contact liable. And so it's doing its job to swell up, and the plasma builds up around your brain and your skull, so that the minute you have contact, you already have protection.
So I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. So I'm going to ask you this is cool. This is a cool conversation. So I'm going to ask you is, are we trying to determine friendly fire versus fire?
No.
No.
Determine either one. It's just proximity
just
to
fire.
Proximity to contact is
going to have to be, helmet to helmet. Like sometimes you can take a knee to a helmet that can get concussed by.
Okay.
Nomad mentioned like the head can bounce off the turf, that can concuss you. So there's multiple things that you can be concussed by other than just helmets.
Okay.
So proximity to contact is the trigger for the helmet.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to determine. That's easier to do than friendly fire versus fire. If we're just considering more or less everything fire, it's, the helmet is a certain, it's inactive, we'll say, until the snap, and then it goes active. And you could even control that from a back end perspective. You could have somebody controlling, actually monitoring the game, monitoring the sport, and controlling the release on that helmet for additional protection. Because, like, in a case like what you just described, you gave some really cool examples. In a case like just like Tua Tagliova, right? Like Tagovailoa. Thank you. Sorry. Anyways, and when with Tua, because Tua's getting concussed when he falls down. So he's getting hit. It's not the hit that's giving him the concussion. It's the whiplash back and then hitting his head on the ground. That's really hard, because it's not like, it's not like he's being, it's not hitting another person or another helmet or knee. It's the ground. So you might actually want to have somebody in the back end with a console that could say, oh snap, he might hit his head in this scenario, let's ratchet it up, let's turn it up, versus
but now you see how it's so fast though. The NFL moves so fast.
You can use AI. Like AI might do it. AI might do it. Like, just to sort of go where you're going.
Because a player dives, and now the probability of contact at this angle is this percentage, but he went down, and now the contact is going to be at this angle, and he's going to ping pong into another defender that's coming from a different angle. Well, so there's a lot going on these fields out there, and it's just the player safety is. I don't think it's being addressed. Now, granted, the NFL, they may be like, players are expendable, replaceable, but the players union, should be like pounding the table for some of this stuff, at least the natural grass surfaces.
Just imagine it like this. Let's say you turn your microphone. Let's say you're getting ready to do a Google search or Chat GPT. You're about to give it some guidance to give you what you're looking for. Soon as the computer or that AI receives that you are getting ready to give it some information, it's kind of in neutral, right? But the minute you move or make a little subtle noise, you see the aura around the microphone, so it's prepared to respond to you, right? Imagine it like that. So that running back, the quarterback is there giving cadence, and the running back is sitting there waiting for the play to snap. And so it's in neutral. But the minute he gets that ball and starts getting into proximity where it could be a danger, it's going to start to activate a little bit more. The R is going to get a little bigger. That's kind of what I'm describing.
I could quite literally build this product. What you're describing is just an accelerometer with like AI control. Like, it's basically what we're talking about. Smitty Q, I just want to say before I get any deeper, I love your comment, because and I'm gonna read his comment. Where is it now? It was what happens. Here we go. What happens when the device malfunctions and you make tomato sauce in national TV? Which is like, if the thing squeeze your head and blow your head.
If you design it right, it'll never screw up to that.
100%. That's exactly why I wanted to touch this comment.
But if that actually happens, that's going viral. So
yeah, no, you don't want it to. You don't want it to be as
compressed.
You know what I mean? You don't want it to be that.
There's no chance to that pressure ever.
No, just a little bit of additional padding.
But somebody, I think it was Dante, that pointed out that no matter the helmet, no matter the Guardian hat or anything like we're describing under the helmet, any of that sudden
just doing this,
the brain is going to be moving. Yeah. There's nothing that can stop the brain from sloshing around at that point of impact.
You can feel that. You can feel it, like all of that going on in there if you pay close attention when you're running. Like when you're running, you can feel Like I'm not one of those people that ran and did a whole lot of breathing. When my burst comes, I'm kind of holding my breath until I'm past. Like if I'm running as a receiver, when I'm in that route, kind of holding my breath until I excel past that receiver, and then I kind of let out. I mean that defensive back. Then I kind of let out, and I feel every one of my footsteps up top. I don't even know if that makes sense to y'all, but I feel those. I feel every bit of it. But that's just me. You know, I don't
Well,
know if
but
feels it.
yeah, I don't. I'm not. I mean, I don't. You mean I'm not sure what that is. But my point is when that point of contact, no matter what kind of cushioning, you could have a helmet full of styrofoam or whatever. The internal brain is still got room between the skull and it, and that point of contact, the brain is going to react, and it's the brain, banging into the skull that gives a concussion. It's not like your brain is banging into the helmet or banging into the other guy's helmet. It's your brain hitting the inside of your own head, because of the contact.
You're right. But
External.
like you could reduce the impact, though, is really what I'm trying to say. Is the impact itself could be reduced? Like what you're
But
describing is
what would the material be? I mean, what
it could be a
what would the
gelatin.
bladders be made of? Like some kind of a gel or
It
some
could,
kind
yeah,
of
it could be.
face or what?
It could be some sort of a gelatin. That's the part that I'm less familiar with. But that would be like, hey, I'd have to go get a Guardian cap and really understand what they're using today externally. Graft that internally into the actual inside of a semi-regular size football helmet, and then add a layer of a circuit board in there with an accelerometer. Yeah.
I tell you guys, and some of the older people in the chat might be able to relate to this, but I got an older cousin who he played during the era where they had this product. Everybody, when I grew up, had these Rydell helmets.
Yeah.
Everybody. But there's one before that was called a bike.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Bike, BIKE.
Yeah, so he's got both of them. He kept this, and me and him about the same size, same head size, and everything. And I go over to his crib. I didn't know he had them. I'm like, what the? And so this thing has a air pump on the very top of the helmet. You stick
right up there.
Oh, I have seen one of those.
And then you go to your manager,
and that's
and
why it's called a bike, because it's like you're pumping up a tire.
Yeah.
And then you feel
my
it.
boy used to have one, and he showed me the little. My boy is
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Back in the day,
I'm gonna be honest, and it's still a fully functional helmet. I'm gonna be honest with you. In my opinion, based on how stable my head was inside that helmet, I'd say, because from what he told me, he said everybody had these. Rydell was a new boy in town. To me, Rydell was a far less superior product than that bike was, because you can kind of squeeze that thing to fit, based on put air in it to fit. And so it's much more stable on your head than the Rydell was. It's just one piece that, okay, it's gonna fit you this way, and that's it. During the game, you can go over to the sideline and take a little air out of that bike, or put some more in that bike. I don't know what happened. Some politics must have happened or something. But to me, that bike was a superior product.
It's just contracts, man. Sometimes you lose a contract, sometimes you win it. If the Rydells looked better, Rydell wins. That's all it necessarily needed to be.
Rydell was a lot softer on the inside, whereas bike, once you pumped it up, you had to get a sweat going before the cushioning would soften up, or it was just like hard as rubber plastic on your head. Just comfort kind of difference and contracts. Rydell is still, top dog. So,
Yeah, you have to see the difference between the helmets. Like put them on, fit them, just to have any kind of reference to what I'm talking about here. Yeah. But to me, it was a superior product. That bike felt better to me.
Well, it would be like, just in scope, it would be to me, the product would be a cross between that bike helmet, the Guardian helmet, and a asset tracking air tag. That would be the product.
Man. All right, so we don't want to hear no bullshit from now on. That this it's been copyrighted, so yeah, don't be starting no shit.
This is all I need is a show where I say it and date and timestamp that shit, and I'll come back and sue your ass later on, y'all. So just
don't make me sue your ass for giving you the idea, motherfucker. So
man, listen to this guy. I just put together the better. Look, we can be. You see this motherfucker? We can be. Listen to him. We can be in partnership, bro. We can be in partnership. It's fine. We can both make $1 off this. You don't have to be a
40. You get the 40.
This 60-40. That sounds like you for sure. I'm surprised we got that. I'm surprised we got that low.
That's my brainchild, not yours. You say
it. That's it, baby. You just
have no technical knowledge, but that's all right.
Don't matter.
Somebody got to explain how it works.
So, well, hey, how about this?
You can go out there and tell them about a fucking butt hook and shit.
Here's the thing, though. Y'all need one person for the boardroom and one person for the gridiron. That's where it works. And I'm just the extra sauce of the whole thing.
Don't worry, you get getting paid. You know you're getting paid too, bro. We need you getting paid too.
All right, man. All right, so before we get, because I do have a handful of player breakdowns to give you guys. I'm talking about some guys we need to
keep suing everybody to pedal your pay.
I saw that. I'll try to.
Hey, Smitty, I heard you were in Seattle, man. Did you link up with Crimson at all? Let me know.
He said he had a good ass time there.
Damn.
I've always heard Seattle was a dope ass place to go kick it and visit.
That's what I heard too, man. One of these days, you know what?
They got the stickiest of the icky because it's always rainy and the moisture, and they got mountains and they got ocean and they got whales and shit. Yeah, nice.
I can handle a little rain, but the scenery out there from a distance is beautiful.
Donuts.
I was talking to Crimson about that when me and him talked personally. I was just like, man, I just love the ambiance of it, man. You know, trees, and I love nature.
I want to get west, man.
They got a lot of that.
I ain't gone nowhere west ever. I'm talking like the furthest west I've been. It's like Michigan. You know what I mean? Like it's like ridiculous.
You kids, you know the sucky thing about playing college ball is you go to places and you don't even get to hang out. You just can say you went there.
No, I know what my son says that to me all the time too, man. He was like, I went to where did he go? Oh, he went to Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I was like, so like, what's Winnipeg like? Because I've never been, except I kind of know what it's been like because everybody who's ever been there has been like, there's nothing here. It's just tumbleweeds and, dust. Like, there's nothing going on in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So I'm laughing. I'm like, what did you do? Did you get to check anything out? He's like, Dad, we got on a bus. We drove for 4 hours. I got off the bus. I put somebody's face in the dirt. I got back on the bus. Back to Calgary, and that's the end of the story.
When you get to college ball here, it's almost the same thing. Just a hotel and a couple of meals and shit involved.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That's all. I mean, but again, man, yeah. We're gonna break down some players tonight. I just want to keep some names on the radar, man, because I do believe, like we've been saying for a couple of months here at this point, won't be any major moves until camp starts. Sometime either before camp, during camp, or after camp. Moves will be made at some point if they feel like they don't have enough, which brings me to the point of the topic we came here to talk about primarily, and that is, are the Bears strong enough to handle some now really strong teams in the NFL? Do you feel like, I mean, just on a general, man, this conversation is going to take all kinds of twists and turns here, kids and trips. But let's just, on a general, just answer that question, that general question as a yes or no.
I'm going to leave this one to Trips first. Trips, what are your thoughts, Trips?
All right. Did the Bears do enough to beat some of the now very strong teams?
That's kind of the question, yeah.
Well, that was a thumbnail question. Yeah.
King Booker says, yeah.
I think so. Now, I mean, because you got to look at the teams and like look at the Rams, because that's the team that ended the Bears season.
Why'd you go there?
Because that's the upper echelon right now. So you got to look at Seattle, you got to look at the Rams, you got to look at all the playoff teams, and then whatever teams this season are gonna step up. Who knows who that is right now? But just looking at the Rams specifically, what changes?
Conversation pieces, man. Yes or no, man?
I mean,
we don't get back to you. All right.
Yeah, I would say yeah, but other teams did more. But yeah,
all right, we'll keep it short and sweet. He said yeah, I say no. You go.
I say I'm on the fence right now. I don't have a yes or no. I want to see what happens when they put the pads on. I want to see the reports coming back. What people say, what people report. Sometimes a reporter that really doesn't play football, like I have to pay close attention to the guys that played football that are doing some reporting. Say like a Herb Howard, and like when Sean goes out there, different guys like that. Not to say that the guys that haven't played football can't accurately report what they see. I'm not saying that. But I give more credence to the guys that have played because they see it in a different light. And so as this camp gets going and we start to figure out, like, when they talking about when nobody has pads on, who's getting the first team reps, I don't give a shit. I don't care whatsoever who's getting what rep. All I care about is what they do consistently once the pads come on. That's all I care about. And when that starts to happen and the report starts to come back, there's going to be a couple of reporters that I, kind of keep close to me as far as my reference point. And I'll know after that whether or not we did enough. So for me, I'd say, if I give you a direct question, I'm going to say yes for now. I'm
glad you did, because I got a lot. Like Kerm said, I got you, man. no man say yes or no.
I was telling you why I was on the fence. I'm gonna get to some concrete shit once they put the pads on. I'm gonna give you a yes for now.
All right. So Cloud Chasers put some good comments in the chat there. Shout out to you as usual.
Go ahead, put it up if you want to put it up.
No, I'll just give a general reference to it. And basically he's saying, hey, look, we were a top 10 team, we're a playoff team. Like, yeah. Teams improve over the offseason. That was last year. We have no clue what this year really looks like. So I'm not going to use last year as the litmus test. The team that Triple R referenced right off the bat beat us. It was a damn close game. Good football game, y'all. Real good game. But they beat us. And then they went out and got Thanos and brought him to the NFC. So I'm not sure. Like, point being, we ain't going to get Thanos, y'all. You know what I mean? We didn't go and do anything like that at all. What we did do, and if Thanos did not enter the chat, I might say things a little bit differently. What we did do is we went and we crippled the Super Bowl champion and took away one of their better players. And that's a good move, right? They also let one of their better players walk in free agency. Again, that bodes very well for a playoff team like the Chicago Bears. But again, the team that beat us went and got super powerful. That other team I was talking about, those Super Bowl champions, did replace their superstar running back with a potential superstar running back. The safety situation, I'd like to think, is definitely in our favor. But once more, that D-line may turn up a little questionable. And if you notice, a certain Mr. Johnson's been talking about the D-line a bit lately, a bit more than I thought he might, given how offensive focused he generally is.
Hey, kids, I'm gonna tell you why I said yes. And I'm not going to stray from the point I made a couple weeks ago when I made this point, that I know why they haven't gone out and got that nuke that Kez is talking about. You're talking about Thanos, and Green Bay has Micah Parsons. Those are nukes.
Oh, nukes and nukes. What about the other nuke?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. I stayed true to what I told you guys a couple of weeks ago when I said that the philosophy here and the mindset here is
particle stuff.
put the ball in the offense's hands. The offense itself is a nuke. Our Chicago Bears offense is a nuke. The collective, they're going to be able to put up points and give that defense a chance to play downhill. Depending on if they can get, like I said, 14, 21 points on the board by halftime, that defense is going to be playing with the lead. And with, ears pinned back, everybody becomes a little more effective, and you don't necessarily need the nuke. That's why I say yes, given this point right now. But again, it's just theory. They have to put it on the field.
That's where we are. And your theory is super sound to the level that as much research as I've done, it looks legitimate, right? Like it looks like this could be the case. There may be secret weapons that are sort of waiting to be released in this regard. And I'm excited to see all of that transpire come September. But in June, I ain't seen shit. And it's just because the season ain't started. With respect to the line and the defense, I'm a little bit worried, especially when we hear stuff like a certain Mr. Turner might not really be a part of this defense very much, if at all.
Who?
Right? Shamar Turner.
What'd you hear?
So Ben came out this week, and like one of the things that Ben has been talking about this offseason, and I'm gonna start it from like right after the season ended. Right after the season ended, he kind of came out and he was like, you know what? Like, we had a real good season, but we're resetting. This is ground zero again. After he said that, he's like, there's a couple of players that I wish we got a bit more out of. And the players he was talking about very specifically was Jaylon Johnson and Kyler Gordon. And that had everything to do with injury. And as a blanket statement, he kind of said, like, if you're injured, if you're not available, like, you're not helpful to this team. He's like, I wish I got closer to these players. I didn't see them. They weren't on the field. And because of that, we don't have the best of rapport. Hopefully that grows this year. I'm giving you a blanket. So now fast forward to June. In June, Jaylon Johnson skips a couple of practices, but that's that's Jaylon. Kyler gets hurt again. So there's that attrition starting. Deo is feeling better. He's actually back out there, which is a great thing because that was motivated. Deo's out there. People were worried. He's out there. At least that's a good start, a good beginning to that look. But again, for a guy like Kyler, not a great look. Similar things to be said about a Shamar Turner, right? So Shamar had 7 games, I think, max last season. I think he got a single sack, couple of tackles, and got injured for the rest of the season, right? So just not a viable showing with respect to being out there on the field. He's still injured. They're not sure when they're going to see the young man. He's an important facet, in my opinion, to that defense and where that defense is going over the course of the next 2 years. And again, not a lot to talk about other than, availability is the best ability. And if you ain't available,
I can tell you this: you probably, I'd just say 9 times out of 10, you're probably given. This is the reason why we spent so much time talking about the 3 defensive tackles that they signed in the offseason. Is because we had a couple of guys coming back from major injury, and they had to go and make those signings. And in particular, talking about Shamar, obviously they felt like, we have to buffer this situation just in case we don't get what we hope to be getting out of him this year. It might not be this year when you can expect a whole lot out of Shamar Turner, which is why the moves happened in the first place. At least one of those moves won't happen if they felt like they was going to get 100% Shamar this year. So they've taken care of that.
Yes and no, right? Like, so they provided depth behind that just in case, and you're like, and that's the yes. The no part is that they still want him there. They were hoping that he would be at least available during training camp to actually go through training camp and ramp up.
They may not. It might be smart not to have him go through a training camp.
I don't think there's much choice in the matter right now.
I mean, if that's the case, that's good. Either way, there's no need, since we have reinforcements, there's no need to push him to get back on field to satisfy people that want to see him. He needs to get where he needs to get to. So before any of that shit happens.
Like, I hear what you're saying, but the but lies in the fact that this is a second round pick that was selected a year-ish ago.
See, kids, that's the shit Trish is always talking about. He has a problem with the team rushing guys back too fast. That's exactly what you're saying. He may not be ready, kids, and we have to accept that.
Like,
I don't care where he was picked at.
My comments are not about me, really. My comments are about what Ben Johnson was saying, right? Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, what Ben Johnson is saying is that we would have liked this kid to be available so that we could actually assess where he is in his development. But we can't do that, right? Like, we have backup for him, but we still can't do that. We can't know where this second round pick who we have expectations of is in his development until he's healthy enough to return. And if he ain't healthy now, when? If it's the middle of the season, we're not really going to be spending a lot of time on your development. We're trying to win football games. So that might push that out as well. So it's the reality here is for a second round pick and his trajectory for this team, we're probably pushing into year 3, which pushes into contract year situation.
You looking way too far down the road.
But that's what you have to do. Like, you have to look at it for what it is. If you miss year 1 and year 2, you're in year 3. And in year 3, if year 3 is your cutoff for year 4,
that's the boat that excuse me, Terrell Smith is in, that Karan Amagaji's in.
Yeah.
That Roshan Johnson is in, because they haven't, due to injury, been able to contribute as much on the field as, I don't think anyone has hoped, even them, to the players themselves. But they can't just keep saying, oh, okay, well, maybe next year they'll get healthy. Maybe next year they'll get healthy. It's like, hey, we need you healthy now. Nothing personal, but we got games to win. We got rosters to fill out. And you've had a few opportunities now, and no.
What y'all talking about is a dog-eat-dog world. And basically, if you don't hurry up and get back out there, you're at risk of dog eating you, dog. And so
it's just a reality of the game.
I understand the argument, but me, knowing what it takes to see Shamar Turner or any other player at 100%, sometimes it's just time.
Well, that's the thing that they're fighting against in the league, though. Because I mean, like the we're talking about player safety and health, and rushing players back too early can be more detrimental to their health long term and short term. But however long it takes you to get right, like Jedrick Wills, he took that year off, to have his procedure, to rehab, to get strong. Whereas Braxton Jones said last year he came back too early. He wasn't strong because he was rehabbing and not working out. So he came back too early, didn't look good, which also hurts, the team, hurts his contract, situation. Or do you take time off and now give the opportunity to another young player to take that spot, and you don't even get a second look? That's the business of it. So you got the health, you got the business, you got wanting to win, you got wanting to live up to contracts. There's a lot going on, but it all comes down to you got to get on the field, but you got to be healthy to get on the field. And if you can't get healthy enough to get on the field, what are you doing on the team?
It's I'll tell you this. Either way it goes, it's a pressure-packed situation. And I don't think let's just see what happens with Shamar. And given what we're gonna see in camp, when they put pads on, they're going to throw pads on him and see what he can bring to the table. And they're going to evaluate that practice or 2 or 3, however many he does. And then they're going to go back to and get to a room together and huddle up. Okay, is it smart to even put this pressure on him right now because some of these other guys are performing. You want to put him on IR for the year, so whatever. They might go that route and then go and get another guy or something like that. But
they may have to go down there. I don't think from what Ben is saying, I don't think he's going to make camp or practice at all this offseason.
I don't know what I heard. The same thing you hearing. It just sounds like he was just like, damn, I wish I can get more out of him right now. He's just as frustrated as any other fan right now. But the fact is, they're gonna have to get to the drawing board and say, hey, can we count on him for this year? Yay or nay? If it's nay, then they're gonna put him on IR and give him a year to heal.
And that's where we're trending, is really what Ben is sort of saying without saying it. And he won't say anything like that until we're probably a couple of weeks into training camp and nobody's seen him out there, right? And then he'll have to actually answer that question. But he is trending in that capacity right now with respect to the way that he feels about Shamar, because he was asked directly about him. And those were sort of the answers that he gave. It was again akin to, availability is the best availability, and if you ain't around, it's going to affect your overall development. And also that he was expecting a lot from him this year.
I only had to do rehab one time, and I had a bad ankle. I didn't really have time for the rehab, to be honest with you, because it was
because you want to get back on the field.
Not only that, we was about a week away from the next playoff game.
Oh, okay.
And I was in that thing a whole every day, twice a day, trying to do everything I could do to get on that field, but it was a pressure situation for me. And so we talking about an ankle. I'm talking about that wasn't broken. It was a bad sprain. However, we talking about a whole ass surgery.
I
don't know what goes on in fans' heads. What are you thinking when you just think, okay, people just supposed to, all right, it's time for me. It's time to play football again. I need to be 100%.
You had 2 weeks.
Don't fucking work like that.
No. I'm not. That's why I'm saying, like, this is what Ben is saying. It's not what I'm saying. I don't know what happens after an injury like what we're talking about with both Dial and Shamar. If you come back, it's a thing, right? Like, you put in the work to come back. That's a lot of work, and time is not in your favor. Once if you don't feel good while putting in the work, you just got to keep working until you feel good, right? And that's just going to happen it's going to take time. So unfortunately for us and for the Chicago Bears, when he's ready to go is when he's ready to go. As for right now, just at a baseline, it doesn't look like he's going to be ready to go anytime early this season. Perhaps, a bit later on, we might get to see some Shamar. But as for now, I wouldn't necessarily count him in your dozen of eggs.
I'll tell you another thing, and I'm just thinking about a couple of games. I'm talking about two teams in particular in my head right now as we're live, thinking about the Packers in the playoffs, thinking about the Rams in the playoffs. See either one of those teams, how does the dynamic of those two games go? Now, I do believe that Ben Johnson, I think Dennis Allen, I think they have the Packers number. Bottom line, I think they have the Packers number. When you start talking about one player that can just discombobulate a game, both of those teams have that one player. Micah's coming off of a bad knee injury, and he's not even expected back to like mid-season, maybe late season or something like that. Something like mid-season, I think I heard. That's a side conversation. But when it comes to what a team can do to neutralize one player, I think Ben Johnson is the perfect scientist to do that and design a game plan around neutralizing a Micah Parsons or trying to neutralize Thanos. So Myles Garrett. But I'm telling you, when you start thinking about the game play in and play out, they will do things to neutralize those two players. That gives me all the confidence in the world.
Yeah, he is that kind of guy, as far as the head coach is concerned. I agree with you there. With respect to the Packers, so Micah, I don't believe will be back. I don't think he'll be back for game 1. Yes, what he said.
Mid-season, I believe.
Yeah, so I think we're safe, for lack of a better thing to call it, for game 1. And I think you're right. Strangely, my 2 cents on these 2 Packers games this season, I think we beat up on the Packers game 1, and it's going to be very debilitating for them. I think game 2, and I hate to say these things, but I'm going to say it out loud. Watch Micah Parsons be injured again by game 2. I'm just saying.
I want him healthy because they're just going to make excuses if he ain't.
They're going to make excuses if he is too, and they lose. You know what I'm saying? There's just going to be excuses either way. But
Kansas saying that Micah's getting that reputation of just being SOFT.
I think he's going to. Well, I think he's going to have a bunch of good games. I think he's going to put up some real good numbers. But by the time the Bears game part 2 against the Packers shows up, I think he's just going to unfortunately be a little bit injured again.
50% Micah Parsons is better than most cats in the league.
Well, you're right, but his issue is recurring back stuff, and that's not cool. That'll take you out. Bare minimum, it can take you out for a bare minimum of 3 weeks, recurring. That's bare minimum. It might be 6 months. It's not cool.
Want me to tell you why I want to handle him at full strength? Because here's the psychology of the game. When your team gives your best, you got your A team against their A team, and y'all battle. And man to man, you beat them. I don't know. See, I box too, and so I know I've seen what that happens to the psychology of a man just getting beat by another man. You know what I mean? If you have to see that man again, he ain't the same man. And so what I'm saying is the Packers, you neuter them when they're at full strength and you just declaw them. You just flat out take it from them. Look, they won't be the same team from that point on. I'm guaranteeing you that.
I like where your brain is here, but fuck them. Sorry. I just gotta be as real about this one as humanly possible, right? Because we've gone up against the Packers for decades, with advantage, without advantage. With Aaron Rodgers out, with Jordan Love out. I don't care. I don't care how Brett Favre hurt, Brett Favre healthy. I don't care. We gonna beat them. And whatever advantage we happen to have, we're going to exploit it. Whatever miss or disadvantage we have, we are still going to utilize the best of our ability to beat them. I again will knock on wood and say that our 2 wins against the Packers are solidified this year. I believe fully that we're gonna eat their lunches.
Let me give you another scenario, and this is a little bit tougher and more close for comfort. It was Detroit this year. That gave the Bears. It was just they didn't do anything.
They're going to do it again, by the way. And this is the I'm sorry. It's the other side of my thoughts. But go.
They were playing basic football and beating you at fundamental football, running the ball, using play action, getting open stuff across the middle, and then that's what that game looked like. And that can't be, you can't live that down. The next time you see them, you got to do kind of that to them in order for them to respect you. And so as much as people, and I know Detroit ain't going to really be a factor this year, but against us.
Oh, that's a Super Bowl.
That's a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. That's why I'm saying, I'm again, this is 2 weeks in a row. We're line of sight, me and you. 100%. I as much as I believe we're gonna beat up on the Packers twice this season, I also believe we're gonna lose to the Lions twice this season. But just as me and Triple R said, that is their Super Bowl. This is the best thing that they can have, period, this season, because they ain't going into the playoffs we're gonna beat them within the division and make sure that that's what happens, right? I don't think they have the team nor the coaching to really accomplish what they need to accomplish anymore. I think their window is closed, but I don't think we're going to be able to get after Jared Goff, a veteran. Like, I hate to say these things, a veteran quarterback. I think he's going to dice us up. I honestly do, and I also think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to eat our lunch, and it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to Detroit. And Don Burrow will be in the chat talking shit, and that's fine. But we're probably still going to the Super Bowl. So,
well, but see, here's the thing. I'm with the players that were brought in on the defense, the increased speed, the more flexibility and versatility that the players have on all three levels, defensive line, linebacker, and defensive back, allows Dennis Allen to play more of the game plans that he wants to play, as opposed that he has to play because of talent. Now, there will still be a learning curve, obviously, but with the emphasis on, less the X's and O's, so there's going to be a lot less thinking, as a whole, other than the new players, of course. But the carryover of the defense, I believe, will help. But the biggest help of the defense will be the offense deciding to play first half of games. From the opening whistle, hey, the game's on. Let's start putting up points. Let's not wait, until we need a Iceman kind of thing. I think the upgrades on the offense make those differences. Specifically how, they were able to audible at center, and so if it's Bradbury, that the veteran that they traded for, or if he's beat out by Logan Jones, either way, cool. Left tackle, still a work in progress, but Xavier Thomas, that speed is what do you say, a cheat code for Ben Johnson, whether it's at running back or wide receiver, where they put him in the return game. Roush is an upgrade over Smythe and Carlson in the tight end room. So the cohesion of the brain of Ben Johnson and the brain of Caleb Williams, his quarterback, are becoming more melded together so that they can be on the same page thinking. Caleb understands Ben, Ben understands Caleb. They're communicating better. And just from the camp recently, to a man, the offense and defense were like, hey, Caleb Williams is taking charge out there. He's very vocal pre-snap. He's telling players where to line up. If they mess up, he's in their ass. So that is going to increase the winning percentage, if you will, of the Bears. Just the offense being that much better. And if you put a Ben Johnson offense, in a shootout versus any team, I think Dennis Allen's defense can make a play here or there that, Bears be able to pull those games out.
What's interesting to me, Trips? I'm looking at Ben Johnson. I still look at some of that tape when he was at Detroit. Even though he's been here going on his second year, I still look at some of that just because I like to know the anatomy of what he liked and why. Why the Lions put up a pretty good record over the past few years, and there's a reason for it. They've had a, let's just say B- to C level defense for a few years now, but it made them look so much better. You know why? It's the exact formula I've been talking to you and Kez about for the past couple of weeks, about them jumping on teams and offensively getting points on the board and getting ahead and having an advantage. That team really would punch you in the mouth right away in the game and they go into halftime 17, 21 points on the board. And that game is playing in their favor from that point. And so Detroit, without that, and they still did okay putting up points. The thing is, now they won't have David Montgomery. They've gotten a little bit better on the defensive front. So the defensive defensive front is going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a better rotation, but they are missing one of their key pieces, and that guy kind of gave the defense a personality. He's not going to be 100% because he's coming off a major knee injury, and that is the nickel corner numbers or safety, whichever one he plays. He plays a little bit of both, but Branch, not having him 100% is going to hurt them. I promise you.
Well,
he gives that defense the personality that it has.
So, you know, trade you a Branch for Kyler Gordon, and we're about the same. But I'm actually gonna fall back a little bit here, because there's just as big a possibility that we do win the 2 games against the Lions on coverage sack alone. All right, I had to take a pause there for y'all to sort of think about that. There's the guy. I knew he was coming. I literally speak of the devil and he shall appear. But
what's
uncovered sack alone, man. Like, Jared Goff been known to just unfortunately sometimes have 6 duck games, man, where there's 6 interceptions and they're all going the other way, and it is what it is. And that's what I'm hoping. Like, this Chicago Bears defense needs to be coverage savvy. If they are, hey babes, if they're super coverage savvy with the secondary that we have in place now, it could be a situation where there's just no place for him to throw the football. And eventually he gets sacked, or eventually he coughs up a duck. And that's the type of defense that I'm hoping to see from this Bears team. It's just a question of whether that is what it is.
I can tell you why you're apprehensive about Detroit, and I can tell you why. Number one, what you probably aren't playing into your mind as far as a factor is Dennis Allen getting here for his first year, and that defense and the pieces that he had wasn't really his. He's playing with a bunch of flus pieces and, working with them. And having to basically, you got to kind of forfeit what you want to do and play, to the better favor of your personnel. And that's going to be a lot more zone than you want to be in, right? And so, hold on, let me finish this.
No, I'll let you. No worries. Go.
To that point, you're talking about a year into it. And also, they're also learning, kids. They're also learning the system while trying to play and do Dennis Allen type things instead of flus type things. This is all going on while we're watching those 2 games play out. And I can tell you it was flux going on because they needed to play Detroit a certain way, but they didn't have the personnel to play them that way.
So I'm glad you went to the words very specifically personnel. I thought we lost those games less because of what you described in being sort of a flus versus a Dennis Allen personnel situation. I think Dennis Allen actually did really well with flus personnel, very well. I think he did very well. In those 2 games though, as well as the games against the Packers, except for game number 2 and 3, Kyler Gordon was missing. And he's such an important factor in how you defend those 2 teams, because they will just run crossers on you all day. Amon-Ra St. Brown will eat all day long coming across. Same with Khalif Raymond, who's now a Chicago Bear. But, right, those 2 guys will just eat all day long in the middle of the field coming across if you don't have a twitchy, fast guy on them. And unfortunately, the replacement wasn't twitchy nor fast. In either case, right? CJ wasn't in the first game against against Detroit. It was, damn, I can't remember his name right now because I don't think he's on the team anymore. But CJ was against the Packers, and same thing. Christian Gonzalez, as well as a running back, just ate us up in the middle. We need to have a Kyler Gordon level guy in the middle to be able to handle those types of threats, or it's a problem. He's hurt again. And this is what Ben talking about. But maybe it's Malik, right? Maybe Malik sort of steps up into that role. I know it's not traditionally his role, but maybe he steps up into that role and can provide us with at least some admirable nickel play, because we're going to need to have one to handle the Amon-Ra's and the Christian Watsons of the world.
Well, was it Cam Lewis? never really been a starter. He's been like that, next up guy. But this is maybe his opportunity to be a starter, because the opportunity arises due to injury.
There's gonna have to be a third guy too. They
got
to find somebody they're confident in.
Oh, I saw an article. I don't know how realistic it is, but because of the missed time, Kyler not being there, that's more reps for what's my man Casey Izamore.
Easy Omume.
Yeah, him too.
One more time, we're feeling.
Easy Omume is he's a boundary corner, but I think he's got the fluidity to play in slot, but he's just light. That's all. You got to be.
I think though everybody is going to play in slot a little bit, because of how Dennis Allen wants to call his defense. With, they may not be quote unquote the nickel back, but at times they'll be playing nickel back. They may not be. The nickel back may not be the boundary corner, but at times he may have to. Because of the versatility and the positional versatility of the players.
So Bears Capo, I addressed that as well. Like he's an outside corner, like he is, whether it's one side or the other, as far as Malik Muhammad is concerned. But they have been giving him some snaps, and it's funny, they were giving him snaps in rookie camp at the nickel just to see what's up. And now Kyler's hurt. So somebody's got to pick up the ball and be in there to get those reps. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm just hoping it's somebody, I'm hoping it's somebody that's twitchy enough to handle the assignment, because that's really the thing. It's not really a question of anything more than that. Like you got to have twitch. You have to be able to cover some very serious speed in short order. And Kyler Gordon is so damn good at it that it really hurts the team when he's not available in that capacity.
I would not be surprised if they give one of these corners on the team that we don't see getting a whole lot more reps, but they need a third guy. So you got Kyler, you got Cam, you need a third guy. You still have Josh Blackwell on the team, and that's probably going to be him. But just to buffer that a little bit, don't be surprised if they give big nickel reps to somebody like Tyreek Stevenson or Terrell Smith, or just thinking of somebody else on the team. Of course,
the only one left is Dante Manning.
Dante Manning, I thought was a safety.
Well, looking at the DB room, you got Jaylon Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Dante Manning, Cameron Lewis, Malik Muhammad, Dallas Flowers, Josh Blackwell, Terrell Smith, Casey Izzo-Mume, and Jalen Jones.
Actually, to be honest with you, Jalen, Josh Blackwell both can do it. Josh Blackwell he can get it done, especially if they're sitting in the zone. But I have more, I guess, confidence in Jalen Jones in a man coverage situation, right? So, however, now don't be surprised, but I think this defense is going to be fluid enough. If they stick Jaylon Johnson in a particular situation, let's just say you playing Justin Jefferson and he's lining up in more slot formations, and we late into the fourth quarter and we need to get off the field, they put some other corners on the field and stick Jaylon on him in the slot to get us off the field. Don't be surprised you see some downs like that. And I don't think that's beyond Jaylon. I think Jaylon he's the most fluid of them all. And he seems healthy right now. So don't be surprised if you see Jaylon in there getting some reps in there too.
In the slot?
In the fucking slot.
Nickel. Wow.
In the fucking slot. He's one of the best corners in the league. When he's right, he can do it.
Let's see, Lord Crimson, when is Kyler expected to be back? That's the $1 million question, my boy.
But this is the thing with Kyler. It's not like it's an MCL or an ACL, and you can put a time frame around it or talk about surgery and repairing it. He just, damn it, Nomad. Like me, Nomad will what? Me and Nomad were calling a game like maybe a year and a bit ago, and he stopped. We're calling the game, and he stopped, and he goes, "Damn, if I see Kyler Gordon do one more of them flips, I swear to God." It's basically what he said. And I was like, "Why are you saying that, man? I love the Spider-Man stuff." He's like, "Man, he gonna hurt himself. He just needs to be cool and calm down and go and play football." And I was like, "Okay, I can respect what you're saying, but I like all this. I'm a comic book guy. I like all this stuff." My boy ain't been like since you said that, man. My boy ain't been good since, brother. He's been in and out on just
a backflip before.
Get right.
You have a backflip? You have a backflip? Either one of y'all ever did a backflip?
Not like Kyler Gordon, no.
You know how much stress that puts on your hamstrings, your glutes.
Of course.
Oh man, bro.
Man, you're right. And then when you said it, I was like, wait a second. Now, oh damn, yeah, he might wind up hurt, and he's been hurt ever since. He went through that whole season, and everything was great. By the time off season came, everything was great.
As soon as extension,
hurt. Money came in, I'm hurt, and I've been hurt. I'm still hurt again.
Did I knock on wood when I said that shit?
I don't know if you did, bro. I don't know.
You see, you done fucked up.
I can't call it. All I know is you said it, and I was like, man. And here we are. Like it's long story short, bro. It's soft tissue stuff. It's just like you're saying. If you come down from that backflip just a little bit wrong,
tweaked,
you can really pull something, and you're kind of out for a couple weeks.
It's powering into it that's gonna f up your hamstrings.
That explosion.
Yeah, it's coming down. There's more pressure on your like Achilles and shit like that. You know, all
joints and all that compression.
Yeah.
All of the above, man. It's all of that is just a walk-in soft tissue injury.
But I don't understand it because you look at the combine and at the end of the drills, you know, now it's kind of a tradition. All the players run to the end zone and they be doing backflips. And it's just that's what the kids are doing nowadays, kids. Backflips.
So the way that those guys are doing running backflips versus the way Kyler Gordon does it is like some Spider-Man shit. He just steps up in the sky and he's gone. And next thing you know, he's back on the ground again. That can't be healthy. That can't be.
Both of y'all seen the green. Both of y'all said y'all seen the Green Mile, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you know that famous song in there when the nasty person that did that to them kids. No, that's not the Green Mile. That's what's the name of that movie where Denzel is this little virus is going from person to person, and
that's a badass movie, bro.
And the song in it is time.
He's on my
side.
Yes,
that's
it
what
is.
Tyler was. That's what Tyler was.
All the Rolling Stones, yeah, man. That's who that is. That's
thank you,
bro. Fallen, right on, King.
That's a dope ass movie,
man.
That's a good film.
But that's what these young guys are.
We should have done that one on Wednesday.
Time is on their side. That's what they think.
Time is not, y'all. And this is more of the story on today's show. Time is not. It is not on. Unfortunately for Alden Smith. Unfortunately for who was that? Shamar Turner, as well as Kyler Gordon. It is not.
But also got to give a shout out to the motivated Dio as well as TJ. Because I didn't expect them to be, available now in June. TJ out there running around like he wasn't even hurt or nothing. It's like,
TJ was out there
lay down and give his job away. Y'all crazy.
Well, that's still gonna happen, but that's okay. I'm impressed that he's out there. I did not expect him to be out there, and especially ready for full training camp. That's crazy. My boy went out at the very bitter end of the season.
Hey,
had surgery, because we remember seeing his foot was going that direction and wouldn't be going. It's like, he's gonna be out for a minute. He's back out there. Let's go, TJ. I see you.
Big ups, man. Big ups. I got a shout out George McCaskey on that one too, because I ain't never seen George run so fast in my life. He was out there. He was running as soon as he saw TJ on a stretcher. There go George McCaskey chasing that stretcher down. Like, we got you. I got your insurance covered. Don't worry about it. And he's just chasing that thing down.
TJ looked good, man. TJ looked good. Jaylon looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaylon's healthy.
Actually, Dio looked kind of good moving around too, even though he braced up a little bit. He looked kind of good.
Well, that's what we have to hope for, y'all. Right? Those, and you got to add Grady Jarrett in that mix too. But those right. Certain players, right, that have sort of had lackluster seasons last year, and I think we can all say not only were expectations higher for all of those players, but I think we can all say that we know they can play better than they did, right? Especially just simply due to injury. I think we saw a lot of that from Grady Jarrett towards the end of the season. I think we saw a much different Grady than we saw, throughout the beginning and middle parts of the season. He's finally starting to get used to, being himself again. And I think, no brace Grady, King, right? I think we're going to see a hell of a lot, like a much better Grady Jarrett, which means hopefully much less of a sieve with respect to the run game in the middle of the field. Same thing with Dale. Hopefully we see a lot more from him this season. I don't expect him to be like, just traditionally, he hasn't been that big sack numbers guy. He just hasn't been. But if he can simply set the edge and prevent a whole lot of run game stuff going on, be influential, the bottom line works for me. That should allow the other side to really do things as well as the interior. Right. Damn it. Do we need Kyler Gordon, man?
All right, man. How about this, man? I think we need to get into the third conversation in the division, and that is the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to tee this one up this way. And I'm going to just tell you, the last time we saw those guys, it was the Michigan quarterback. What's his doggone name right now?
JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy. He's
McHandoff.
It won't be him this time. It will not be if it's JJ McCarthy. Something happened. Somebody put something in Kyler Murray's food in the hotel the night.
Call of Duty supposed to be coming out though.
We will not see the same quarterback. When we see them again, we will have an experienced quarterback that can throw that ball accurately down the field, which is going to make that game. And I know people just looking past that right now, but that game is going to be much more competitive, not only for Kyler Murray's throwing ability, but his scat back ability too. It's gonna be a different game for us. We won't be able to play that game defensively the same way we played McCarthy. Bottom line. And so know that ahead of time. This ain't gonna be no cakewalk.
No. And so we've discussed this already. And I don't mean with respect to the Minnesota Vikings or specifically Kyler Gordon. The conversation I'm talking about is, and I think this was actually off air, me and you. I think we definitely were talking about just mobile quarterbacks and how unfortunately that might be the Achilles heels of this football team in the way that it works from a defensive perspective. Enter Kyler Murray into the chat. He's pretty mobile, man. Kid's fast. He can really do some things on the run, on the move that might stun you. And without that level of pass rush, it might be a problem. Without that level of edge set, it might be a problem. I'm less worried about the right-hand side as per normal with Montez Sweat, but the other side we really need, if we're not going to get the sacks, we need Dale Dango to really hold it down from an edge setting perspective. Same token with Austin Booker, but again, Booker's been traditionally known much more so as a pass rusher than as an edge setter.
But hold on, kids. Question.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, once Booker was back and healthy, he was more of an edge setter. Now, do you think the added strength and weight will make him more of an all-around football player as opposed to just a pass rusher per se?
You're nailing it. So expectations are high, my brother. You know what I'm saying? It's almost as simple as that. Expectations are high. I love this player. I wish all the best for him. And to be honest with you, we definitely just got to see tip of the iceberg last year because again he was hurt for a good chunk of the beginning of the season, and that's just how the cookie crumbled. But when he finally came back, he was ready for the Green Bay Packers. He ate their lunch on a couple of occasions, and we loved every snap. But you're damn straight, he did start to increase that, that edge setting capability. So I'm just wondering how long is he on the field? Like how is this all going to work, and what is his true capabilities going to be in that case? But we need somebody, whether it's Austin Booker or Deo Dangbo or we need somebody on that edge in that edge role, really setting it up so that quarterbacks can't just run wild. And I'm saying that broad.
You're looking at the game the wrong way.
What do you mean?
You're thinking about an edge. It's more like now you have to kind of play with an extra DB on the field, maybe extra linebacker, more or less DB, because that's how Dennis Allen plays.
That makes sense. Nickel.
Then now you got a designated guy.
Sorry,
you have to have a spy on Kyler Murray, and then have to play with it because if you don't, he's just going to rip you for 15, 20, 30 yards at a time when he decides to get out of the backfield. So you have to play him with a spy.
And
so
we've increased
not going to be an edge rusher that's going to be a difference maker here. But go ahead.
Anybody. Who is now with the team speed increase of who's going to be the spy? Devin Bush, he can keep up with a Kyler Murray. Thieneman, if safety for some reason. All of the upgrades to the defense are speed first increases as well. So that will be different than what we've been used to as far as quarterback containment of the mobile variety.
I'm going to play big nickel against him. And so basically I'm going to have a regular nickel. That would be Kyler, and then another nickel out there, probably Cam, and have one of them spy him and just kind of switch them around. One of them blitz and chase him out and have somebody else to go fill it on that side, wherever side he chases him out of. And so let's just say you got Kyler. If you're looking at the offense on the screen, you're looking at Minnesota's offense on the screen, you got Kyler coming off your left-hand side. And so on the other side, as you're hoping you make him spill out to the right. But if he slips up the middle, then you got problems. So you want to spill him out to the right, and you got some coverage over there to help do something with that. That's the reason you want to have extra DBs on the field against a guy like him. Guys that can run and hurry up and get to the ball. You really don't want to have extra linebackers on the field unless it's guys that can really, really run.
So cloud changes. I wouldn't say that about Kyler Murray, man. I've watched a lot of Kyler Murray.
What did he say about Kyler?
I'll put it up there, man, and I'll speak to it.
What up, Cloud?
Are we talking about Kyler Murray who couldn't throw an accurate pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. to save his life? No concern whatsoever. So
he ain't in fucking Arizona no more, man.
Even then. So
he'll chuck it up there.
He's now throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson, right? So,
Addison
as well. So like the receiving core might have actually improved, from team to team for Kyler Murray. Less to do with the receiving core or his accuracy. I think he's a pretty accurate quarterback when it comes down to it. Kyler Murray just doesn't have, and we're gonna find out this year, y'all. We're gonna find out what I'm like the real truth of what I'm about to say. Kyler Murray in Arizona, Kyler Murray just didn't have heart. Didn't give a damn about football. He didn't, and you could tell. And Triple R mentioned Call of Duty. That wasn't what did it for me, and I don't think it was what did it for the Arizona Cardinals. When he signed the contract at Arizona, there was like special language in there that spoke to. There's a great question, Levante, and we'll get to that too. So there's special language in the contract that sort of said, hey, like you need to watch film You know what I mean? You need to actually watch film. You need to come to practices, and we'll pay you the money we're going to pay you. And they did pay him the money. That's now in limbo. But they recognized that his heart wasn't in the sport, which is super weird for the guy you have under center, your quarterback. Now, enter Kyler Murray in Minnesota. If we're talking about Kyler Murray in Minnesota here, this is his second chance, right? Either you give a fuck or you get the fuck out, right? Like that's where we are with Kyler Murray right now. So they're gonna give him his second opportunity. We're gonna see if he beats out, just like Levante said. We'll see if he beats out McHandoff. I'm heavily under the impression that he's gonna. The only real advantage that McCarthy has is that this is now his second year in that system. So maybe he understands the system better. Maybe he gives a fuck more to understand the system better than Kyler does. Like let's just put
because he has the talent. That's not a question. It's his mentals.
He does. I'm going to tell you the difference in you just whatever you saw in Arizona, just slide that left. Just telling you right now. The thing about Minnesota and why people get excited about him playing in Minnesota is the head coach and the offensive coordinator's track record with the quarterback that kind of failed to produce. What he's really good at is having that quarterback trust the system and being successful. All you have to do is stay true to the tenements of the system. And it's proven. It's proven. You just saw a quarterback leave that system and go win a Super Bowl. You just saw it. And the same thing is going to happen here. I'm not saying Kyler Murray is going to get really, really good and take off and go. I'm not saying that, but Kyler Murray knows that this system works. And so he's going to have a different mentality going and taking the guidance from this guy that's teaching it. And so if he takes to it, like I think he probably will, this is going to be, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Slide left all the thoughts you saw, all the thoughts that came from him being in Arizona. That's different now. So
I hear what you're saying, and that's props to the coach in Minnesota. Like he's a damn good coach in my opinion. Now, to end the Kyler Murray conversation, what got me and what basically got the Arizona Cardinals to bench him was one play. And this play is last season, and I didn't believe it when I watched it, and I had to talk about it then, and I'll talk about it now. I talked about it on my show, my fantasy football show. But Kyler Murray's under center waiting for the snap to come. Snap's about to happen. He takes a quick look to the left, and the snap comes. Hits him dead in the face. Now, it's just a snap, y'all. It's not like it was a full force throw. It's a snap. But my boy hit the ground, rolled over. He's a little guy. And then he stayed on the ground for something like about 2 minutes. He stayed there. As if he was concussed by the snap that hit him in the helmet. He's wearing a protective helmet. Remember, we're talking football. But he stayed on the ground for this 2 minute period of time. And I'm like, damn, like that little missed snap debacle really, really messed him up. And he stayed on the ground. The other team ran around, grabbed the football, and they were off. And he just walked off the field like it wasn't anything. And that was the last snap that Kyler Murray took as the Arizona Cardinals quarterback. And all I'm saying, my boy just didn't have, the chutzpah, to quote somebody the guy who said chutzpah, to play that position. And I don't know if he has it today.
Kids, I'll tell you this. This is what I think happened. And you can take it for what it Crimson, you asshole. But what I think happened is that thing hit a turning point when, whether it was true or not, that story came out about him not studying and not wanting to watch film and all this kinds of stuff. He wouldn't put in the work to, be a good NFL quarterback. Whether it's true or not, I know one thing: Kyler Murray got to a crossroads with the Arizona Cardinals, and it
For
didn't
sure.
really matter who the coach was, what the system was, and what the hell they were doing. He got, and that's that emotional maturity that we talk about with these young players. And we expect the world out of these guys at 20-something years old. And the truth is, some of these guys is when they hit to that point, Kyler Murray probably should have been gone from there a year or so ago and gone on to some other team and, just reclaim his career. But that definitely rubbed him the wrong way. He's never the same quarterback at all. And I think the coach in O'Donnell or O'Connell, whatever his name is in Minnesota, knows that. And I think he's just saying, you know what, we're gonna put some consistency around him and teach him that, hey, you trust what we do and you'll be the best player you can be. And I think that difference is going to be that's what's going to produce a different kind of Kyler Murray.
So I'm gonna ask you, just with respect to what you're saying, any inkling as to what brought him to that crossroads? Because what I'm saying is, like, the kid got paid. He got money.
Oh yeah.
Right. Not only did he get money, but if you look at the Arizona Cardinals as a football team, they got him the stuff that he needed to be successful. D-Hop was there. D-Hop left. When D-Hop left, they got him two damn good wide receivers. One is Christian Kirk, who's now gone. They replaced Christian Kirk with Marvin Harrison Jr. There was another real good wide receiver on the other side. I'm just blanking out. Like, they fed him. They gave him what he needed to succeed. We didn't hear about Kyler Murray getting like sacked. He did get injured at one point.
Christian Kirk.
You missed one thing, kids.
What's that? What did I miss?
Where's the running game that he needed to lean on?
Well, Connor been playing good football over there, bro. He's not like a super like
one good. Connor had one good season.
No, he had two good seasons
over there. One, and the other one was just like there. He was here. No, it wasn't like that. He hasn't had a consistent running game. And if you want a good quarterback in a system like that to produce what you want him to, you need a very consistent running game.
And what did they go and do?
That running game has not been consistent, man.
But what did they go and do right after? They went and they got
too late now.
In the Trey Benson. It is too late now, but this is for last year. I'm just saying that for him to be frustrated in his position over there, and this may just lean on, emotional immaturity, if you will. For him to be upset with his position over there, I personally feel like we've watched, like, we're looking at a Chicago Bears team here that's clearly needed an edge rusher and hasn't gotten an edge rusher well worried about. We've looked at. We're front face and center with a Green Bay Packers team that's had Aaron Rodgers, one of the better quarterbacks in the league for many years, just completely ignore the wide receiver position. I'm just saying, I could see why Aaron might be frustrated. I could see why, folks on the Chicago Bears might be frustrated with the defense, or Bears fans. I can't really see what would frustrate a guy who just got paid well, has the weapons he needs for the most part. At least they're trying to give him the weapons that they need for the most part, has protection for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, stuff was kind of in place in Arizona. If we're talking about the defense, yeah, maybe the defense wasn't super great. It's not. It's actually ass, but that's another story.
Okay, kids, let's just talk about the NFC and who came out of the NFC. Who was it? Seattle and the Eagles, right?
That year?
NFC Championship. We're just talking about this year, right?
This year's Seattle and Rams.
Okay. The thing that say all three of those, just throw the Eagles in there. The thing that all three of those teams have in common is a solid quarterback and a solid ass running game. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Arizona, you talking about solid running game, they better not even be in that conversation. The whole time Kyler Murray's been there. And so take that for what it's worth, too.
Well, that would go with a couple comments here. Cloud Chaser said, let's not forget about the injuries.
Yeah.
And then Bear Truth 9. anyone in Murray's situation would have a hard time being successful. I mean, imagine Caleb was still under the Flus.
I can't remember who the coach is in Arizona. Do you know? Either one of you know?
Not right now, man.
That's probably the problem.
Man, that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's it. It was Cliff Kingsbury at first.
Out there,
because Kingsbury left.
Kingsbury.
Who is it, chat? Y'all know.
It might be as simple as that, y'all. Like now that we're getting down to the nitty, it might be as simple as, you know what, he got drafted by the guy that, you know, he worked with in college and had a really close relationship with, and that guy's gone. It could be as simple as that. Maybe that's really what got his goat over there.
It's bad.
John Gannon. John Gannon?
John or Josh Gannon? I don't know. He's probably right. It's a Gannon.
Right on the cloud. All right, so Gannon. There you go. So yeah, I mean, division-wise, we still don't know what it is. And before we totally close it up, Vikings, they took Caleb Banks at 15-16, middle of their defensive line. What will Brian Flores be able to do with him if he's able to play? And how will that, that zero defense and that blitz heavy defense will, Ben Johnson, who's been able to get Flores' GOAT for the most part, and, and Caleb as well, does that continue?
The thing you want to know about that, Trip, is the question is, okay, can we consistently, what Ben Johnson has done well is neutralize their speed. The defense, talking about the team defense, man, on Minnesota has extremely, extremely fast football players, extremely fast. And how do you neutralize speed? Basically, you run right at it. And that exposed their defensive front. I believe that one of the games we played against them kind of basically told Brian Flores, we need to get rid of these two defensive tackles, these two interior tackles. They cannot stop the run. When you duo block these two guys, you're in trouble. And so that kind of resulted in how you just talked about who they just drafted, Caleb Banks, big old fat interior defensive lineman. That's a starting point. So they wanted to get bigger up in the interior so they can help stop, the run game. Because if you can run against Minnesota, then you basically that's your trump card. You just neutralize the defense. If you can run it right up the middle, you just neutralize the defense.
Well, I won't say that I'm casting aspersions, but kids, look at your Twitter. I sent a picture there in the chat, and Caleb Banks, his talent isn't questioned. It's health. A big 300-pound guy, with foot issues. And I only mention him really because he allowed us to get Thieneman, which is, thank you. But there's a picture that Caleb Banks made from some bling that he bought. And it's like, yeah, that's not a thing that I think that a rookie who was into football, that's not something that he gets right away. And so I just think that the overall choice of him could be very fruitful for the Bears in the long run.
Did you want me to share that picture?
Don't. Yeah, what are you going to do that for? Go ahead.
It's not anything. It's not a video or nothing. But it's Caleb Banks, and he bought some bling. And it's a piece with I don't know how many diamonds that is, but it's a vault, and it says Banks on it, and it's wait, hold on, kids, hold it right there, and the actual vault thing that is on the screen is like a bank vault door, with the
little
big
spinning
turning
wheel
knob and thing that says Banks in the middle, and then scroll up. But the funny part about this necklace is the door opens of the vault, and inside the vault are little like
damn, you got a championship belt in there. You got a championship belt.
That's unique. I like it. That's unique. So. That might be a total waste of money But
Might
you know,
be.
No, it's not. No, it's not a
that's-
waste of money at all, man. You can
It's
hawk
an
that shit
investment.
for good money. It'll appreciate.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, that is. I mean, because his name is Banks, and it's like, oh, I get it. It's a bank.
He's
Yeah,
thinking.
that's still lame.
hopefully, man, you know, I wish the best for him, man. But that's a big boy, and they needed some size in the interior of that defense, big time. And yeah, that's what they went out and got, man, because they got ran over last year, flat out. There's no other getting, and you neutralize that defense. Flores' defense is powerful when it's working right, and all the pieces are functional. But that defensive front, they let them down. And so they're doing what they can. Now, I don't think they're done. I think there's a couple players out there that might come in and help them. But we do need to get to some player breakdowns, man, before we get ready to get out of here, man. Some guys that we need to keep an eye on.
Okay.
So one of them, the first one we're going to talk about here real quick, is somebody we're very familiar with. And this is Ryan Bates is out there still. Now we're talking about interior offensive.
What we need him for?
Huh?
What we need him for?
Well, if you let me do the breakdown.
I will.
All right. So what I'm getting at is we feel okay with the interior presence of our offensive line, center, guard, you know, that role that these guys need to play. The thing is we haven't seen what's the guy that we drafted last year out of Michigan State. Haven't seen him.
Luke Newman?
Luke Newman, really didn't see him much after a certain amount of games. We hope that he's what he's supposed to be. But if something were to ever happen during camp, and I'm knocking on wood right now, when they put the pads on or something happens, right, knowing Ryan Bates is out there is a plus for us. So long as he's out there. But would you either one of you guys opposed to bringing him back to the roster for a year?
I'm gonna say it like this. Ryan Poles really likes Ryan Bates and what he puts on the table. That's clear and evident. Made an offer. Eventually, that offer came to fruition and brought him over. And super overpaid this guy because he never found his way on the field outside of a couple of games. That being the case, you might be able to get yourself some Ryan Bates for virtually no money at all. If you require the depth, do it. But if it was me, I'm steering clear.
If looking at just the interior, Logan Jones, Garrett Bradbury, Jaron Kump, Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney, then Luke Newman, Jordan McFadden, Amagaji, Hergel, and then White, what is he? The White Polar Bear, Caden Barnett, White Rhino.
You don't know what he's going to be like.
Vanilla Gorilla.
Vanilla Gorilla. There, I know it was something Caucasian.
You don't know
what, but we don't know what none of those are going to be. But they're all under the archetype of what Roush and Ben Johnson want, and so they're going with that physical specimen. That not physical specimen, but that type. Yeah. Is Bates that type? We know Bates was a Poles guy. And, Flus regime guy, but under this regime, is he even a fit? And I think they want to go more with the youth movement as opposed to like going backwards for like a 1-year deal with injury risk guy.
I think the chat is unanimous on this one.
Like, why is he on our screen?
I'm gonna fill in. I'm gonna give it a little bit more color, and I'm gonna give it a little bit more. I'm gonna widen this out a little bit. Number one, you have one thing going for Ryan Bates. Other than he's still young, still a very young player. He's got system. He has a system, and knowing the system gives him more of a leg up than pretty much any other offensive lineman out there on the market right now. It's going to give, I'm talking about interior offensive linemen, if say they needed help. Ryan Bates is going to be the first. If he's still out there, if they need help on the interior for whatever reason, he is going to get that call, whether y'all like it or not. Why? It's because you won't have to do they'll be in the middle of camp. And the last thing you want to do is spend time getting your free agent up to speed, right? So he comes right in, knows the system. Even though you don't plan to use him on a regular basis, at least you know you can function. And if something happens, you need to stick him in there. You have that going for him.
So I think Crimson's asking the realest question of them all. Do we need him right now? And will he make the 53 in your opinion?
That's not what we're talking about.
I know, but the second part of that question is, will he make the 53?
What I'm getting at is at some point, either during or after camp. And so anything can happen during the camp. And once we get to settling the 53, there's going to be guys that get cut, and you might have to acquire some other guys. Talking about that.
Okay.
I'm not talking about just acquiring them right now because we need Ryan Bates. No, we'd have him if we need it.
So you're saying if shit hits the fan,
yes,
and somebody, knock on wood, gets injured, potentially you're scrambling a little bit for that depth, and Ryan Bates would be a viable depth piece in that capacity.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay. And if that is all you're saying, I can give you a thumbs up and in semi-agreement, because you're right. It would be kind of an easy piece to slide into your roster, and training and things along those lines are a little bit less required because he is familiar with the system. But outside of that, I think everybody's right there with me too, because I'm like, but yeah, if somebody gets hurt and you need a guy, he's a guy.
Yeah, man. It's not about whether we need him right now or not. We don't need him right now. But if it gets to a point at some point, he's a quick. Hey, we know what Ryan can do. Let's bring him in here and let's keep this thing going. We ain't got time to be, bringing everybody up. We got a guy we know that knows what he's doing. Bring him on in. That kind of thing. So we're not talking about now. We're talking about some point during camp or after camp.
Cloud Chasers Radio is still thumbs down. I gotta laugh at this.
People gonna feel how they're gonna feel about that.
he wants nothing to do with it. That's all right, Cloud Chasers. Like I say, I'm kind of with you. Levante is asking, does he want to come back? Levante, we paid him good, so if he's got problems with it, I don't know what to tell you. We bought a Hyundai with Porsche money right here, and I would be very surprised the Hyundai don't want to come back home.
Last thing I will say about Ryan Bates is I was extremely impressed with last year was the year that the first year I seen him totally healthy and play, and was during the preseason. I think they slid him in there during the regular season a time or two or three, but he got some run in the preseason when he was really good, and then they had to put him out there at some point during the season, and he looked good as well.
No, man, he looked great the first year. He looked great, and then when that injury happened, that was it. We had to go. We were left reeling and holding the bag with a big contract. So I know, as far as fans are concerned, this particular player is going to be a polarizing thing, because again,
I don't care. I'm just
undone with Porsche money.
I don't care anything about how people feel about him. Just bringing it up, and I'll give my breakdown, and people have to feel how they feel about it. I don't care about none of that. Fans will be fans.
Yeah,
but that's one guy. That's the guy that's out there for now. Who knows how long he's going to be out there? But there's other guys to talk about, and we need help at multiple positions. Maybe.
Yes, we do. Maybe we do. We'll find out.
Let's just work from the bottom and come on up.
Okay.
This is Danico Autry, 35 years old. I know, Trips. He's in the old bowl and shit. I know what you're gonna say. 6'5", 285 pounds, listed on any team probably as an edge rusher. But this guy at 35 years old, let me just say this right off the top. We talked a week ago about bringing in attitude guys. This is an attitude MF if you ever want to have one. Not only that, he's all business, man. He's all business. And you would think, unless you go and look at the tape thoroughly, 35 years old, what really can he do? Oh, he ain't really lost nothing. Danico Autry's a dog. He's been one of the dogs in the league for the past 7, 8, 10 years almost. He's been quietly. He's just been on some teams that haven't really crossed that threshold. But Nico Autry is basically a tweener. So he's between an edge rusher and a defensive tackle. And to be honest with you, when you're watching him play, he doesn't really give you the better edge rusher reps. He gives it to you better from the inside. And so fit. Everybody we're going to talk about tonight is a fit. I promise you that ahead of time. This guy is definitely a better inside interior tackle than he is an edge rusher. He can get on you from the edge, but he's definitely at this point in his career going to give you better defensive tackle reps, but is an animal. I love Denico Autry. And we need some attitude guys. The more the merrier, in my opinion. Just go watch the tape, but he's out there. He's out there. This guy is, I'm telling you, one of the more hasn't been heralded a whole lot, but one of the better defensive linemen in the league for the past 5-6 years.
Okay. This is an interesting one, actually. I'm going to start this conversation with some statistical shit here, so bear with me. 2023 Tennessee Titans, 12 sacks, 50 total tackles. That was 2 years ago. 768 snaps, 14 out of 17 games played. That's pretty damn good season. Obviously, there was some level of injury in that season, but that's a pretty damn good season all in all. I have to admit, 2 years ago, a couple of forced fumbles in the mix. Then you get into the Houston Texans version of Denico Autry. There's two things that come to that sort of rear their ugly head. The first thing is, again, our boy's 35 years old. So if you were a 33-year-old Denico Autry trying to stay elite in this league, you might maybe wind up doing some roids and getting caught. Like you might. And that's what happened. So he gets caught doing.
It wasn't roids, man.
Okay. I'm call it what you will.
Homework. It ain't. He got caught for some kind of legal substance, but it wasn't that.
Okay, cool. Whatever it was some level of performance enhancing drug that the league deemed.
I don't even know if it's performance enhancing, but it's a legal substance.
It's a P. He was suspended 6 games for a PED. Yeah. Okay, that's really what I'm leading to. I can't get into the semantics of it. I don't know. I'm just saying that again.
He go right to roids though, because it wasn't that.
Well, roids is a performance enhancing drugs. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't roids, and I said maybe it wasn't. Just along with you. In any event, that's what happens. He lost a bunch of snaps during that season, bunch of games during that season. He still came out with a decent season overall. Played about 10 games. 3 sacks here, 13 tackles. Obviously, numbers are much, much lower and smaller. This past season, he just kind of went wild. Suspended here and got suspended there. He's just punching people out, which is the attitude that Nomad was talking about, which I'm not completely mad at. I think we need
bad boys. What you gonna do?
You know what I'm saying? So we lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. We do need a shit disturber. Oh yeah, Tariq's still here. Anyways, we could have a little bit of a shit disturber veteran here in Denico Autry. Just saying. Only played 12 games last year, 4 sacks out of those 12. But given the 12 games, he only had 206 snaps. Now, I'm not 100% sure why that was, and I think the answer to that. How many
pressures does he have?
I don't think they have a number on pressures. Let me look and see if I got a number. I don't have a number on. Wait a second. No, I don't have a number on pressures. But again, 206 snaps is a pretty low amount of snaps. This particular defensive line just had an influx of talent. So it could be as simple as there being a whole bunch of young talent that just got the snaps over him because he was running wild. Long story short, in a rotational capacity, if this guy has, still has a little bit in the tank, I would have to say the number of snaps would have to ratchet up quite a bit. But if he's still got some stuff in the tank, he'd be a great compliment to from a rotation perspective to Austin Booker, Dale Dangwell, and Montez Sweat.
He's more of a D tackle than he is an edge rusher.
I think we've done what we're going to do at the DT position for the season. I don't know.
Not so much if Shamar is not there where we need him to be.
That's a fair statement. So we'll see. It's fair, but it's not fair. Like we've still got two other guys there that we just brought in. It just means they get more love, being Neville Gallimore and Streets, and that's kind of how that looks to me. I still think you look at him potentially as a rotational edge. That's my thoughts. I think he would be just fine. He's in and around the size that Dennis Allen likes at the position. I think he's a fit in that respect. Question is, what do you got left in the tank? And the other big question is, he's coming off of two relatively sizable contracts. Just real talk. He's getting nothing like that here.
I'm telling you, listen, all the other stuff, I appreciate the breakdown from that perspective, kids. I do. But I'm telling you, when it comes to performance on the field,
he still has it.
I'll take a little bit of that bad boy.
Okay,
I'll take a little bit of that because
I'm with you there, man.
The animal. I'm telling you,
I'm with you on that.
We need some of that on the team. When it comes down to it, it's going to be how many animals you got versus how many animals we got. That's what it comes down to in football. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care how prim or proper somebody's behavior is on or off the field. You better have you some animals. You better. Or you won't advance so far. Now, with the respect to the Shamar conversation, we don't know exactly how that's going to play out come camp time when they put pads on. And this is just an option if we can't rely on Shamar this year. This is just an option. And we're talking more D tackle than we're talking about edge rusher. That's it. But you guys got to watch him on tape, man. Denico Autry, for as long as he's played in this league, I don't think the guy's really lost a step. I think he's more gradually becoming more of a D tackle than he is an edge rusher over time. But man, he's getting off that ball and he's getting on your ass. And he fits in a way that because he's playing under the coach D'Amico Ryans in Houston in that 4-3 that they run, the same thing we do here. That makes it a seamless fit. And we're talking all offseason about get off and getting pressure from the middle and that kind of thing. When you watch Denico Autry on tape, first thing that's going to jump off at you. How he gets off the ball, the quickness, the power, and the impact he does from the inside, and he dents that pocket right the F away. And I'm just telling you, before you go jump into conclusions, anybody, just go watch it on tape and see what I'm talking about. That's what I do over here on the Nomad Network. Just go break down some of these guys that are out here in the market, and we're going to do a whole bunch more of these kind of guys just to show you, where it could be a seamless fit for us, even though he may not have the, this spotless track record. We need some guys like that. We need a few assholes on the team. It's just the way it is. Trips, any thoughts?
I mean, sure. I mean, if it's a necessity, what the fuck, sure. But it's not something, at his veteran status. No, this is definitely, he ain't doing shit till camp. And then, so if it's a situation where Shamar Turner can't go, and who is it? Crimson asked defensive tackles, Javon Dexter, Grady Jarrett, Gallimore, Lynch, Turner, Deo, Vandenberg. That's the white rhino there, kids.
Okay.
Contavious Street,
Vanilla
Jaden Loving. So there's young guys there battling. There's free agent signings battling. So
the timeout, Trip. You can't call him the white rhino. because he's from South Africa. That shit don't. It's got to be Vanilla Gorilla. It's got to, like that.
Well, no. Jordan Vandenberg is White Rhino.
Yeah.
Is he really White Rhino? Is that what they call him?
Yeah.
There's
Caden
two guys.
Burnett is Vanilla Gorilla.
There's
We got
another
two-
Vanilla Gorilla, and we got a gorilla and a rhino on this team. Damn.
Got
Yeah.
two white dudes.
Okay.
That's why I said it was one of those. One of those.
Okay.
It's Vanilla Gorilla and White Rhino. Come on, kids, keep up.
I'm just saying I don't like that.
That's
a whole other conversation. Continue.
Yeah, but hey. Well, hey. We don't want to go there with it, but sure.
No. That's an extra sauce conversation.
Right. But yeah, those are the bodies that will be in competition. And so if there are injuries and we need a player, sure, come on in, because we have to remember that the price tag will be lower, as there's not a whole lot of cap room to just be signing people willy-nilly. And if he can still play, we'll only need him for a year, so it's not a long-term thing. So, whatevs.
all right. One last thing I'll say about Danico Autry, man. I just been a fan of his for quite some time, man. Even when he was at Tennessee. When he was at Tennessee, I was just like, oh my God. I think he was at Indianapolis before that with Flus. And he was a dog then. And just, it doesn't matter what front you put him in, just tell him what to do. He's gonna do his damn job, man. I'm telling you. If we have a situation in camp or during camp or after camp where we need to fill a void, this name right here is a name to remember. Because when you watch him on tape, you're going to know. You're going to know. You might be looking at it just on its face, 35 years old and all that kind of stuff, and you think you know. Just watch it on tape and come back and talk to me next week. Best thing I can tell you. But let's move to another position that piques my curiosity. And this particular player, this is linebacker Bobby Okereke. Let me tell you something. Before we get into the
Okereke, but okay.
Okay, some people call it Okereke, but it's Okereke, I think, is how he
tomato. Continue.
Now, let me just say this off the top. Flus has got a terrible rap around here. Let me just tell you that right now. But one thing I can tell you for fucking sure, absolute certainty, is my man Matt Eberflus knows how to identify linebackers when it comes to picking them. He can pick. I don't think anybody in this chat, anybody that has watched Flus and the players surrounding Flus, they know he knows that linebacker position. He can pick linebackers. And Bobby Okereke was a draft pick at the Indianapolis Colts that ended up moving on after Flus left to the New York Giants. He's 29 years old, 6'2", 234 pounds. Free agent, was the leader of that defense for the past 2 or 3 years. Stud linebacker in every aspect of the game. Stud. Don't know what his price tag is going to be at 29. He's still going to get a certain amount of money. But the question is, if, and only this conversation only is happening because I'm not sure if TJ Edwards is long for this roster. I just don't know until I know. If he's not long for this roster, if they end up moving him on and they need to bring in another veteran linebacker or something like that, for whatever reason, Bobby Okereke fits what we do in more ways than one. Great in coverage, and will fill the run. But the most important thing about Bobby Okereke, and you can see it over the years with his play, he's just getting more and more smart and knows how to read the game a whole lot better than he ever did. And that's some of the value you get with a veteran. Anything is how he sees the game and how fast he reads it. Bobby Okereke is one of them guys, man. He is one of them guys, quietly. But this is a piece right here. You guys know who Bobby Okereke or Okereke is, kids. You want to speak on him? Go ahead.
Is he a legit free agent right now? Is all I'm saying.
He's out there. The Giants had to cut him because of his salary.
And that's where that's really what where I'm headed here. Okay, I'm just going to give you all the statistics of this last year with this player. 17 games played, 1,100 snaps, played 96% of the snaps of the season, 1 sack on the year. He's a linebacker. 143 total tackles, 78 solo, 65 assisted, 2 interceptions. Like that, like this Bobby's good, man. You know what I mean? Like, no two ways about this. Bobby's a real good player. The problem is Bobby commanded somewhere in and around a $40 million 4-year contract, and this is why he would be, on the bubble. This is similar to, but maybe half the cost of Jermaine Edmonds, or probably around the same price tag as TJ Edwards that we just signed. I don't know. More than I don't know. I don't think the Bears have this kind of money floating around for a linebacker. Right? Like, if we were past the TJ Edwards situation and didn't have money tied up into him, yeah. But I don't know I just don't know that they would go and do something like this. This is a good, like, he had a real good season. He's had a couple of good seasons with the Giants since they signed him to big money. All that being said, I don't think the Bears can afford him.
Now, this is the thing about a linebacker going into his now 3rd contract now. First contract, rookie contract with the Colts. Second contract with the New York Giants. This is one of those times when you can kind of use linebacker age against you, which is what hurts the linebacker market. The guy can still obviously play. Obviously. Go ahead.
I wouldn't call him old, though. He's 29.
Well, 29, yeah. He's not getting a 3-4 year deal.
I think that's about what he would get.
Think?
Yeah.
Well,
like,
if
he's at exactly that age where a 4-year deal would work.
Probably why he's still a free agent.
Yeah, because first of all, I think he's a good player. I don't know if he's a need right now in case of injury, sure. But, like Keds was saying, the contract situation or the amount of and the length, I don't know that they really want to, bring in a 29-year-old for, 2-4 years. Whereas like the previous guy, a 1-year deal, sure, maybe. But I don't think Bobby Okereke is in a position to, need to take a 1-year deal or want to take a 1-year
He's
deal.
not taking a prove it deal. You're damn straight, Trent.
I think that's exactly what he's going to do.
No chance. Why prove what?
He's going into his 3rd contract. That's how the shit works sometimes. Okay, you want me to prove that 29 ain't old? I'm going to prove it to you in 1 year and put some stipulations in it.
Man, I don't think he's doing
What do you think the market is for him right now? You think he's going to get a 3-4 year? They'd have got that right out of free agency, man. He's at that 1 year prove it to me deal.
So I don't, like I said, I don't think he's there.
I don't think he is physically in watching his game. No, he needs to get paid, but I don't think that's what's going to happen.
So look, so Indianapolis final year, 17 games played, 149 tackles. Like that's damn good, man. I don't give a shit what anybody says. A couple of forced fumbles in the mix. From a Giants perspective, 3 sacks, 2 sacks, a single sack, over almost 3,000 snaps played, over 400 tackles. Like he's played pretty damn good football over the course of the last few years. I don't think he has to prove anything to anybody other than, what kind of a deal can I get given, like, maybe it's not 4 years, maybe it's 2 years at, 12 mil a piece. Like this is a good linebacker in the NFL. The problem is linebackers are kind of a dime a dozen. There's a lot of linebackers out there, and just as many in every year's draft. So I would say the problem that he really has is just keeping up with the Joneses and recurring youth year on year on year on year.
So what do you do when you have to replace somebody with the presence of a TJ?
Draft?
No.
Oh, the Bears?
When you replace the presence of a TJ.
That's a really good question, and I'm gonna do something here. So
and we don't know what Hippolyte is.
This is where I'm going, Doug. So here's the Bears linebacker core. So TJ Edwards, Devin Bush, Ruben Hippolyte, Keyshawn Elliott, Jack Sanborn, John Radigan.
Well, let's stop right there. Let's just stop right there. That's where Jack Sanborn came into this picture, because we don't know what's going to happen with TJ.
You're damn right, and we don't
know what's going to happen with Ruben Hippolyte. That's why
you're damn right.
But he came back at a price.
Who, Jack?
For us.
It wasn't at a big price, right? Like Jack.
That's what I'm trying to say. This is going to be a little more rich.
But that and that's where the problem lies, right? Like we got Jack in a situation where he went to Dallas with Flus. Flus got booted out of Dallas, and unfortunately, the new guy had no use for him. So we're not paying big money for Jack.
Well, Jack is a 1 year, $1.5 million.
You know what I'm saying?
We're not. Bobby is a much better player than Jack Sanborn.
There's no comparison.
Okereke is definitely better and proven. Sanborn's younger, but Okereke has more time on task in the league, and that's why I don't think he has to prove anything to anybody.
No, he doesn't. No,
he's just in competition because of the aforementioned linebacker market with the Utes as well as the veterans, and he's just taking his time, right now to see who has money to pay him and the need.
I think that's where it is. Like whoever goes through training camp and recognizes, damn, like I need a linebacker. Call number one if you have the funds is Bobby Okereke. If you have available cap room for a Bobby Okereke, you make the phone call and you go get a top-notch guy.
Kids, I just want to reassure everybody that's looking at the show, thank you for being here and tuning into the Nomad Network every week. Make sure you subscribe and give a like and share the content on Sports Chicago Style and on Kids of Canuck. Make sure you check out all these channels, man. Make sure you give all of us some love. But just let me make sure everybody understands. We're just talking about the 5 W's here. Who, what, when, why, and where. That's it.
And how.
How?
That's
one more W.
You gotta add H. There is a W at the end. There's a W at the end.
So we're just talking about the possibilities out there and some of these players that will fit and the reasons why we might have to go out and get some of these guys. We may not ever need Bobby Okereke. But if we ever to have to venture into that territory, why not know what the guy brings to the table? And we're here in the dark off season when we got 6 weeks to talk about a whole bunch of nothing. Let's talk about some of the players available in free agency still, and let you know that we ain't talking about empty calories here on the free agent market. Just because the names that you want to talk about are all gone, don't think there's empty calories. We're gonna keep going. There's a couple more to talk about here, but Bobby Okereke is absolutely a piece that fits. And if something were to happen and TJ ended up on another team, this is definitely something that we probably would need to look at.
You mean if they trade TJ?
If they release TJ, trade and whatever they did with TJ. If TJ's no longer here, we probably need another vet in that motherfucker.
I'm wondering if they could release him. Let me look at that. That's an interesting
What up, Jay?
case. What up, Jay? That's an interesting case. I'm going to take a bit of a closer look at that. But
what up, Shad?
This move here, I think we're a year out of this particular situation. Yeah, I just don't see us paying. Like the other side of this is
you don't have to go right to the money. I'm just talking about.
I know the other side of this is after DeMarco Jackson, who I didn't get to mention. There's also the 2 Sewells, one being Noah, who's very hurt as well.
Yeah.
So like there might be room here. I just don't see there being money to do this. Like that is the linchpin. There might even be reason. Money is the question. If they're able to get out of TJ, And it's not, basically TJ is making Bobby Okereke money, like very similar. If they were ready to get potential out in 2027, yeah, they can't do this, bro. So it would have to be a trade out. And you're trading out a 30-year-old man for a 29-year-old man, very, very similar. I would have to say measurables and probably overall impact, I would actually lean Bobby. Big ups TJ Edwards, but I'd probably lean Bobby.
I wish I could just say, all right, y'all, here's the name, here's the player. I'm gonna give you my breakdown. Go watch the tape and come back and talk. All this stuff about money, I don't care about. It's what the Bears will have to do if they have to go down this road.
Yeah, I know that's not where your brain is, but
I know what he costs.
My simple science here is just that, like, can they do it? How? Right? Like that's right. I mean, if you're putting up Bobby, I just went through his stats as well. Feel free to watch the tape, like No Man is saying. He's dope. He's good. I'm well aware. I just don't see them. Yeah, I just don't see how they could do this. They'd really have to move things around, including TJ potentially. If they moved off of TJ, which would leave them with potentially a $10 million cap hit, they could afford Bobby Okereke. But it would have to be in a situation where they traded him to somebody who's willing to eat the cap hit.
Well, last thing I would say about Bobby Okereke and the linebacker room, because there's so much communication that has to happen, and he's a leader. He's an absolute leader. And he's a middle linebacker.
You see that C on his chest, huh?
Yes. And so I think I'm not going to put down the fans and call them, I'm not going to do that. But I would just reemphasize that I don't think people understand quite fully how important that middle of the defense is with the linebacker position. You got to have the right people there. Well, so but when you got a piece like, when you got a piece like TJ, if he comes up missing trips, you got a problem. Sorry.
Jay in the chat there said, other than that one tackle on Malik Willis, I'm good on TJ. TJ has been toasted on, routes trying to cover running backs and tight ends. Would Bobby Okereke be an upgrade over TJ, just flat out?
Oh, yeah. In this defense, for sure. He's just strong. He's just faster. He's just flat out faster. Other than that, they're equals. But this is a much faster football player. And longer.
I have everything he said. Yeah.
Hey, Smitty, y'all pardon me, man. I'm just trying to, I break down football the way I break it down. I know how much he costs, and it is important. The money is important. I'm just into the X's and O's more than I am the money. That's all.
Yeah, that'll always be the dynamic here, and it's cool. But I got you on that respect, Smitty, man. I got you because if you're gonna show me a player. Hopefully, I'm familiar with the player. If not, I'll go check him out. In this case, I am. But I'm interested. Can they bring this player onto the team? How? And I'm gonna go see if it's actually possible. And like there is an angle of possibility. Nomad's right. This guy's a heck of a lot faster than TJ. They're about a year different in age, but Bobby's got a fair amount more length. The thing about TJ, man, TJ, and we're only going to see what we see this coming season. TJ dropped off in a major, like it always, like I don't know what it is, man. Like folks get paid and just performance dips. So TJ got paid in 2024. He had 129 tackles, down from 153 and 159. Like TJ was a tackling machine for a couple of years. You know what I mean? Like just a tackling machine. Suddenly 2025, 67 tackles. 100 less tackles almost.
You know what? I forgive TJ, man, because again, in a new system and playing out of kind of fish out of water kind of. And he can't really function in a way that he would have in a Flus defense that he knew. I give him that reprieve, man. Yeah, and I understand that. Again, we talking about fit versus somebody that fits a little bit better versus how much it would cost. All that's relevant conversation, man. It is. And again, I'm just more into the X's and O's. That's it. But we got other players to talk about. We got a couple more before we get out of here. One of them, this guy, I think you will like when you look at him on tape. This is Ifitu. I misspelled that. Ifitu Melifonwu, 27 years old, 6'3", 210-pound safety with Miami, formerly with Miami, but more previously drafted by the Detroit Lions. You guys might remember this guy, Melifonwu, with the Detroit defense. Probably wore number 6, I think, when he was with Detroit. They drafted him as a corner out of Syracuse. Gradually, he ended up, not being as good at corner, and natural thing to do when you're playing when you're coaching DBs is you want to see if this guy can take the safety and he can take this role and understand the principles of safety and perform. And boy, let me tell you, he excels now at safety in a major way. In a major way. He is much better at safety than I ever seen him play cornerback when he was in Syracuse and at Detroit. He was getting toasted at Detroit at corner. But they moved him to safety, and this guy has flourished. And yes, he fits. Absolutely. He's probably better in one-on-one coverage than most safeties in the league because he played cornerback. And so you have that skill set playing at a safety. Naturally, he's going to be a better one-on-one safety than most safeties in the league, right? Because he's got all that, that leg work at corner. This guy is a piece that fits here, and he's physical. Young, 27 years old, ain't going to cost you much money.
Wait, before you go, think about it, kids. I just want to, real quick, the safety room includes Kobe Bryant,
thank you,
Dylan Thieneman, Javarius Owens, Elijah Hicks, Anthony Johnson Jr., and Skylar Thomas. Go ahead, kids.
And this is, I'm glad you did that, because how many safeties are we really gonna take on here? And that's only my.
Before you finish that, look at what Shad is saying here. Just read that.
Melifonwu has a range that would make him an animal in nickel and dime for DA. Okay. Exactly. If we're looking at, so you would put.
He just said it all in a nutshell right there, kids.
And that's cool. So I didn't understand how you're gonna, like, he the safety room is ram-packed in my opinion right now. But in nickel capacity, have you seen him in nickel capacity at all?
In Detroit a few times.
Okay. So he has the versatility of a corner, a nickel, and a safety.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big kid, man. At 6'3", 210. Yo, that's like a great that's a great physical makeup. He's like tall and skinny. And that'd be a bit of a
size, length, weight, everything you want. And he's a free athlete too.
That would be a problem in the center of the field, in my opinion. So you potentially put him in the nickel position. That's not crazy.
He's probably, out of all the guys we talked about, probably more of an upgrade right now, right here, right now, than any player we've talked about so far. Period.
In a nutshell, with a hurt or regularly hurt Kyler Gordon, I think this is a conversation actually worth having. I didn't understand. I you know what I mean? A minute ago, I was like, you can't fit him at safety. Like we got 7 players at safety now. Like they got to chop some of them out. We'll see who falls out. But adding another guy in there is pretty nuts. So if we look at corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh.
He's so versatile.
9, 10. Oh,
he's so versatile, having all that cornerback experience. He seamlessly goes in there and plays some nickel. Just like Shad says. Without question, he's a good fit to supplement that role.
Well, just right there, the positional versatility makes him more valuable because of the different roles he can play. And just looking at the safety room, you got the free agent, who just got that big gaudy ass Super Bowl ring, Kobe Bryant, with the Seahawks, and the rookie Thieneman. But behind them, you got the young UDFA Elijah Hicks that they brought back in, and Javarius Owens, and then the UDFA Skylar Thomas and free agent Anthony Johnson. So those last four, Owens, Hicks, Johnson, and Thomas, they are not as versatile and don't have as much as experience as Melifonwu. So if they could afford him, he would be, a definite.
They can afford him.
Upgrade, as far as like the second line of safeties, insurance, if Kyler Gordon can't go, and just deployed however Dennis Johnson wants to do the defense because of his versatility. So he's affordable, he's on the younger side still, he's physical, and he has versatility. I'm with it.
He's also has Dennis Allen has some experience with it. Not Dennis Allen, but Ben Johnson
from his time in Detroit.
Well, he knows the player.
So
he looks like out there, and he's seen that guy transition from corner to safety. He watched it.
This is an interesting player. So in 2024, 89 snaps, three games played. In 2025, 16 games played, 547 snaps. So he really got out there and played some football.
He went from there to safety.
Yeah, and we kind of see him actually performing relatively well here on the year. Contractually, he signed a 2-year, $3 million contract. Like, this is the type of money that I can almost guarantee the Bears have floating around and could afford to spend on this particular player. I'm going to say these things. Feel free to, check me on them later. But if Kyler Gordon is hurt all the way throughout training camp and they have to sort of consider to do something at the position in the interim, I don't know if this would be I would not consider this a bad move. This is definitely a move that the Bears could afford. The question is, how well will this gentleman play at the nickel spot? I have a feeling he'll not only play very well, but having a lengthy target in, like that length, might make up for, some of the speed he might be up against. I don't know how fast he is or how twitchy he is.
4.48.
He's pretty fast and twitchy.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
He's a freak athlete.
Okay.
And if he, just, play it out, Melifonwu coming in on a blitz.
Okay.
6'3" size coming in there, falling back in coverage. So yeah, it's I wouldn't say a position of need, but
it might be, though.
It is an upgrade. So sure.
Yeah, it might be, again, just dependent on what the plans are if Kyler's hurt. Like, Kyler's so important to this defensive makeup. I really can't stress how important he is. He is he's the anti-Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's the anti-Christian Watson. If you're sending those guys, like, he's the anti-cross, right? Like, if you're sending guys on crossers and drags, that's just pure speed. I'm gonna beat you with speed, and once I get open there, my quarterback's gonna hit me. If that's the route that's being run, Kyler Gordon will eat that up all day long. He's just that twitchy. This guy might not be as twitchy, but you're saying he's pretty damn fast.
Wait. You don't think
I'm saying I'm giving a hypothetical here. I'm saying maybe he's not as twitchy, but the length that he has, in addition to that speed, may make up for a lack of twitch. You hear what I'm saying now?
The thing about him when you watch him on tape, Melifonwu, I've just noticed it doesn't really matter how you play him as a safety. You can play him in space, and he's a very good I mean, spatial awareness is getting really, really good. He can close space in a really quick blip. And it doesn't matter if you play him high or low. The physicality that he plays with, you're comfortable playing him down in that box. And that box translates from strong safety over to nickel corner equally. That's the box work that a corner or safety has to work with. You feel good with it. But he really excels in one-on-one coverage because, especially on tight ends and running backs, that's easy to him because of all the work he's had at corner. That's easy work for him in the day.
Okay. I'm like I say,
I'm kids, question, finance wise, 3-year contract at what, like $2 million a piece, $3 million a piece, whatever, 2-year deal, 3-year deal. What do you think he's looking for?
Real talk, because he's coming off of a 2-year kind of prove it situation. I'm also going to say he didn't prove it because year 1 was a wash. Year 2, he finally got on the field and started to play. I don't think the theory is proven, but if somebody was to come to this guy and say, hey, look, I'm going to give you a 3, like just around the lines of what you're saying, I'm going to give you a 3-year, $2 million deal, I think he'd scoop it up in a heartbeat.
The thing is, study long.
2 years per year. So $6 million total for 3 years.
For the Bears, study long, study wrong. Just about a week or so ago, he did a workout for the champs.
For Seattle? No. Mm-hmm. So they want him to be some sort of backup capacity with respect to what they've lost. That makes a lot of sense.
So he's very valuable, regardless of what these these websites are telling you, man. People want this cat. It's just about it's going to be his choice, and hopefully he'll choose wisely. And man, this is a player. This is a player. The minute Detroit put him at safety, I was just like, this is going to be a lot easier for him. He's a big corner to begin with, but I think just because Detroit needed more help at safety and nickel corner, that's the role they asked him to play. And since then, he's flourished. Kez broke it down to you what his snap count looked like beforehand, and then the production afterwards. That's all safety work and nickel.
Interesting. Very cool.
But all right, one more player before we get out of here, man. People talk about there's no more players. This is defensive end Yetur Gross-Matos, 28 years old, 6'5", 265 pounds. Another guy I've been keeping my eyes on for the last 2 years. San Francisco got him last year and the year before that, I believe. But man, I'm telling you right now, what I like about Gross-Matos is I start thinking about what Dennis likes to do. He's become kind of a tweener, especially in like NASCAR package situations. He's a little above average as an edge rusher by itself. He's above average. He's better than your middle of the road edge rusher in the NFL. He can get on you. Now, he's starting to become a little bit more strong than he was when he was at Penn State. Just physically stronger. And when they line him up on the inside in NASCAR package situations, you will have an extremely fast defense, and it's formidable. That's exactly what San Francisco did with this guy. They had him in there and, spot situations and rushing the passer, and he can get pressure on you. Sometimes it don't always end up in sacks, but when they kicked him inside and lined him up, and with his strength and speed, he was really effective in those NASCAR package situations. He's becoming a tweener. That's why he's a fit. He's kind of a journeyman edge rusher. He's played, I think he got drafted by Carolina. I think he's only played with 2 teams, Carolina and San Fran. But, man, he's becoming one, man. He's becoming one of those guys, man, slowly but surely. He's at that point where he's getting ready to tick towards the peak of his career, and I like this player. You're talking about depth. This is what we want Austin Booker to be one day.
I kind of feel like Austin Booker is this now, and hopefully he's a bit.
No, he ain't.
You don't think so?
No, he ain't that strong on the inside. Hell no. Not yet. He ain't nowhere near as strong as this guy on the inside.
I'd like to pull numbers up.
He's just got better strength right now, and that's because he's older than Austin.
Okay. A lot of injury. So
don't go to shooting stuff down. Just tell me what you see on tape.
Well, I'm not watching tape on this particular gentleman right now. I'm looking at, I'm actually just looking at stats and numbers and injury history and things along those lines, because I want to know, contract details. So 2 years, $18 million in San Francisco. That's middle of the range DE money. He's a young man though, which is 28 ain't that young. Anyways, middle of the road numbers for DE. Which might be what he's expecting. My major worry here is in 2025, he only played 8 games, and had 158 snaps, and that's what I'm worried about. The previous year, 10 games, 330 snaps. So just not a lot of these last 3 years, not a lot of actual snaps on the ball.
There's a couple things you probably should just take note of.
Yeah.
Depends on the week, right? You know how sometimes on the Bears you be like, why is this guy a scratch? Why is that guy a scratch? Depends on the team need that week. And even though that might look like, oh, he only played so many games, that's just calculated action by the team. Sometimes it's actual injury, but sometimes it's not.
It was injury, is what we're in this case. So
how do you know that?
Because I'm doing the research right now, right? I'm looking at it. So from weeks 9 to 15, he was injured, and by that time he was just phased out of the defense.
So what did they say? Would you see him listed with an injury?
Yeah, I see him listed with a hamstring injury.
That's what they got to do to keep him. They have to do that. There's going to be some guys that get scratched and they ain't got no injury whatsoever. But that's what they have to do. Maybe they bring a guy up off the practice squad. It's all kinds of shit that happens. It doesn't necessarily mean it's always an injury, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. He's not a guy that's getting $9-10 million a year if he's always hurt. Fuck that. They're not giving him that kind of money.
Well, he was getting $9-10 million, and so this is where we're at. So he's getting just under $10 million a year for 2 years going. That was his contract. Signed in 2024. In 2024, he missed weeks 5 to 10. So he missed 5 games with a knee injury in 2024. In 2025, he missed weeks 9 to 15. So either you're right, I'm not saying you're wrong here. Either you're completely right and they just benched his ass and sat him down for one reason or the next. It's interesting when you bench a $10 million prospect.
Well, hold on. Let me give you a little history here. Gross Matos originally suffered a hamstring injury in week 5 against the Rams, causing him to miss multiple weeks. He attempted to return to practice October 30th, but re-aggravated that injury. And then he had a nagging knee injury that required ongoing management with the team, holding him out of specific practices early in the week. And he was officially activated from the injured reserve, but continued to navigate lingering knee issues and soreness in the late stages.
I sound like I hear a whole lot of shit going on in between the lines to me.
I don't know.
Except for the hammy.
The only reason I don't know is because his final season in Carolina, reason why they didn't extend him, hamstring injury, weeks 8 to 12. Right? So like what we're now talking about is a fair amount of injury history here between 2 separate teams. And I'm not saying that that's going to carry on into the next team that he goes to. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's just not a lot of statistics here to look at with respect to actual snaps on ball, like playing on the field. At least not in the last 3 years of football.
You know, so he's a good player, possibly, but he just can't stay on
He
the
ain't
field.
on the field.
Okay.
Right.
Let me just tell you what I see.
Yeah.
The guy's got the length. Of course, he's 6'5". He's got the weight, 265. You see it on film, man. He's an absolute perfect fit. And I bet all kinds of money, whatever his price tag may be, that's debatable, depending on some of the stuff that Kez is talking about with injury concern or whatever team values him as what. What are they willing to pay? All that kind of stuff is reasons why somebody like him might be still on the market. It could also be that he's 28 years old and he's just letting the market come to him and ain't no need for him to rush. He's going to get paid and paid somewhere. Guaranteed. He's going to be on the NFL roster this year. Now, whether or not it's with Chicago, I'm indifferent about it. I'm just talking about the player attributes. That's it. He's a fit. He's quick. He's powerful. He's getting stronger every time I see him play. And he's starting to be one of those tweeners. I wouldn't have called him a tweener a couple of years ago. But since being in San Francisco, they've kicked him in on those NASCAR down situations, and he's excelled in a major way. So that makes him a fit here in Chicago for whatever reason. So if he ends up here, great. It helps. It helps in a tremendous way. It's going to make us faster, stronger, and longer. And so, that being said, I'm telling you, he's got very good attributes. Hands are getting much better, but it's the burst, the power that he plays with, whether he's on the edge, and he's a good edge setter too in the run game too. But the burst, the power coming from inside or on the edge is what's going to make him attractive and probably on the list, for if we got a situation in Chicago at some point during camp or afterwards, this guy is going to be on the list.
So why I say he might be on the list is just because they can probably I don't see, Smitty Q giving your comment there. I don't see anybody paying this guy $10 million. I'll just be straight up a buck about this, right? Like nobody's paying this man $10 million at this particular point, at this age, and given the fact that he's been more or less hurt long term for 3 seasons in 3 seasons.
No less than 7 8, I guarantee you.
No chance.
Oh, I guarantee he gets 7
no
8.
Chance.
He's getting 7 8.
No. He's coming off a 2-year, $18 million contract, and he basically didn't play.
Going to get him that.
That's 9 a year, right? So he basically didn't play at all those 2 seasons, and that's why he's a free agent today. Or San Francisco would have retained him. Hell, they could have retained him at lower money, and they decided to cut bait.
He's 28 years old. It's a lot of teams that are willing to pay him that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of teams willing to pay him. I just don't, like I'm saying, I don't see them paying him. I don't see them paying him upwards of $6 million max.
That's all right.
I'm just saying.
My final
prove it situation, right? Like prove it situation. You sign a short contract. And you get your money back down the road. But he needs to prove it.
I just wish before you go to dollars and cents, you look at film.
It's not even dollars and cents I'm looking at. I'm looking at injury and games played.
But
and that's,
you understand how it feels when I've done all the film work and then you go right to the financial part without looking at the film. That's kind of not cool.
I didn't go to financials. I went to games played. If I see actual snaps that this guy's been playing and where you would get film work from, like what? So clearly, did you watch him last year? Because he only played 158 snaps last year.
Watch every snap I can get my hands on.
I'm just saying, there couldn't have been a lot for you to view last year.
Is it not?
If it was the year before, I understand that, and maybe he was playing a little bit well, but to understand that he was out the remainder of the season after game 10 is a good thing to understand. So now we've got a history of injury, unfortunately.
That's for coaches, GMs, and people who decide if they want to get a guy in and what they want to pay a guy in to figure out. I just look at the film. That's it.
Like I say, I believe he's everything you say that he is. It's just injury, unfortunately, has proven different.
It would be cool if you just probably look at the highlights, or at least the highlights first, and then let's go to the dollars and cents, and then it probably make a little bit more sense. You know, it just would. If you see him, you'd be like,
I'm gonna give you the opposite understanding. So if Ryan Poles was to go and just look at the film and go, shit, this guy's amazing.
I already know where you're going, kids.
Where am I going?
It means more to look at the whole encompassing thing. I'm just talking about.
I understand what you're saying.
Where was I going? If we're gonna do this, it's good that we all look at at least look at some highlights or something, and then we get a taste of what the guy can bring to the table, whether you like him or not. Then we go to the financial aspect of whether or not the Bears might do it, and I'm good with that. I'm good with it. I'm good with how much you think the Bears can or can't pay, because you probably know that better than more than anybody here. But at least let's get eyes on this cat. That's all. Even if it's saying
the Bears probably can pay him. My worry is not the dollars and cents of the deal, really. It's if they were to put dollars and cents behind this player, is he actually going to get on the field? That's the worry that I have. And like, for instance, a Ryan Bates, which was your first example today, that was the exact experience that we had with Ryan. Ryan Poles looked at him, said, damn, I like the way this guy plays on the tape. He's amazing. Well, let's bring him in. Let me offer him 2 years, $10 million, and we'll $10 million a year, and we'll bring you in. They did bring him in, and he never got on the field. He played 4 times.
Dio, kids.
Sorry? No, I'm talking about Ryan, but my example is not Dio. My example is actually Ryan Bates.
Ryan Bates isn't even in this, man.
But he's an example with respect to what Ryan Poles did. Ryan Poles went and he looked at the tape, saw a guy that he really liked, got that player at $10 million a year who played maybe 6 games maximum over the course of a 3-year deal.
Yesterday.
And today he could go and get Gross Matos, who's coming off of injury, a long history of injury, pay him what you're saying is $8 million a year, which is pretty close to the 10 I was just describing. And if he injures his hamstring again, we're in a bad way.
Okay.
We're out. The other Bears are out 24 mil.
Because Dio might or might not be what we need him to be. And we need to talk about some of the edge rushers that are out there on the market. Whether you think it's a good thing for the Bears to do versus what they did yesterday is beside the point. And you know, if you want to consider that, we may as well not even talk about Larry Ogunjobi, who's out there. You know, we're talking about guys that are out there on the market and whether or not these guys fit us. And then we talk about what these guys may or may not cost us financially, not what they did yesterday. That's just beside this is a hit and miss in all of it, bro. It is. I appreciate what you're talking about, but it's all hit and miss. Any team in the NFL, that can happen to any GM anywhere. Any of them. You ain't gonna hit gold every fucking time.
Fair, but if you do your homework, you might find diamonds in the rough, right? Like it's if Ryan knew. And just giving you brought up Larry Ogunjobi. If Ryan knew about his injury case scenario, he wouldn't have offered him that big money deal, right?
Maybe he knew, but felt like it was okay, and then brought him in for the situation, and all it was worse than I thought.
Well, he had to back out of it because of what was found, right? But
found out.
You have to look at all of these at all of these things to really gain a full understanding of like. Tape is important. Tape is one part of the conversation. The other part of the conversation is, can they afford it? If they can afford it, cool. And in this case, I think they can afford it, which is where I'll agree with you. because I don't believe he's going to be able to command a high salary due to injury, due to 3 solid years of recurring injury. Hamstring and knee, and hamstring again. That ain't good at all.
That's a Ryan Paul's going, oh damn, I like this kid's tape, and then he goes by his the cap person. Hey, can we afford him? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Hey, Dennis Allen, what do you think of the kid? Yeah, I think he's a good player, but he's just not reliable to stay on the field. And then it's like, well, how much does he cost? Oh, damn, that is kind of a lot for not reliable. So pass.
Okay, last thing. We blaming polls for that. Same thing kind of happened. Same thing just kind of happened with Grady Jarrett. Same thing kind of happened with Grady Jarrett. And guess what? That's a whole different regime in here. Can we still blame polls for all that? Really?
Well,
I don't know,
he is the constant. And if we go a little bit deeper, he is the constant, right? So Grady Jarrett, Karan Amagaji, Larry Ogunjobi, who never made it here. There's actually a
Terrell Smith.
Thank you. There's actually a good list of guys that he's attempted to bring in that were either injured before or even injured in draft. Shamar Turner. There's a fair amount more.
He's taken a lot of gambles on guys
on injury.
Sus history of being healthy.
Yeah. Well, we need to what we need to do, man. We need to have, maybe we can do that in the next couple of weeks here. We put it together the right way. And just, put our little feelings to the side and have a real, genuine, true conversation about who should take the weight for some of this. I'm one of the people who's firm on the side of the best situation for a GM is to have the coaches tell you what they want and you go and get it. That's, to me, the best situation here. Everybody wants to give Ben Johnson the credit when things are going right, but when the bad decisions happen on the GM side, if we acquire a player that doesn't produce, first thing they want to do is point at the GM. And trust me, that player wouldn't have been here. I'm talking about Grady Jarrett or anybody else that we acquired at that given time if Ben Johnson didn't green light that shit. But don't nobody want to, everybody feels good about Ben Johnson. They want to keep his plate light. But that's the conversation we need to have because it's bullshit, man. In my opinion, it's just, the GM's got to take them arrows, man. I understand it, but it ain't all him, bro. Trust me. It's probably less than anybody.
And I think you also need to understand that we know it's not all him. So if the things that just went down this draft don't work out, I think Ben will be a little bit in the crosshairs this time around. I'm just being frank. They all worked out last time. If they didn't work out this time, I think he'll be looked at with a little bit of question marks at the end of the season. With respect to that Hokie motherfucker who used to be the head coach, I'm not sure if anything was really him at all. I think he was beekeeping and I don't know what, I mean? I honestly don't know.
Coming up with nicknames
and beekeeping. That's my 2 cents. I don't really think that Hokie motherfucker was
Kid, let me ask you this question, and simply before we wrap this up. If you were my head coach, I was your GM, and we went into the scouting. Let's just say Trips is Dennis Allen or something, and we went into the scouting part of the season, and we start identifying players, and we sent my whole scouting department out there to go scout these players that you're looking for with the right traits and measurables, the right kind of temperament, right kind of personality, all these things that you want. And we go and find these guys. Now we put them into categories and we break them down, and together we come up with what we like and what we don't like. Okay, kids, you like this guy more. Okay, we'll go do some extra due diligence on him. You like this guy more, we'll do some more work on him. And on down the line. Now you're into the draft. You got them categorized. And we come down to a situation where, okay, it's time to pull the trigger on a situation. Which okay, if you want to ask me, kids, what do I think about this player? Or what do I think about that player? Where we're sitting at? All the kind of stuff that comes up in the dynamics of the draft. And at the end of the day, when the phone is getting picked up to make the call for the draft, who should have the loudest voice, me or you? Just answer, me or you.
The GM or the coach?
Yeah. Me or you?
Does it have to be a black and white answer?
We'll just say it. Yeah, me or you? Who should be the loudest?
The answer is nothing's ever black and white.
Okay, let me finish.
But the GM has final say.
Let's just say you have. I want to make sure that you.
Let me color this just a little bit and just say, what if it turns out that I'm a fucking idiot? That's all I'm trying to say. If I'm an idiot, then definitely it falls on
wise
the
enough
GM.
to know as a GM that this is your team.
But what if I'm an idiot?
Well, let me give an example. An idiot.
I made a mistake by hiring.
Let's say the idiot is Fluke,
and he did, didn't he?
And Ben Johnson is the not idiot, but the GM is the same at Ryan Poles. Now let's look at the selection of a quote unquote gadget speed wide receiver. I remember specifically Ryan Poles was like, "Hey, Flukes, who are you looking at?" It's like, "I like this Valus kid." "Hey, Justin Fields, do you think you can work with this Valus kids too as a wide receiver?" "Yeah, I like him too. He looks cool." So they drafted Valus, and we see how that turned out. But now fast forward to the Ben Johnson era, and Poles is like, "All right, Ben Johnson, wide receiver. Who do you like?" "I like the gadget fast guy, but in the name of Xavier Thomas." Now it's still yet to be seen, but the difference in Valus and Xavier is the difference between, let's say, Flus and Ben Johnson. But the remaining thing, the constant thing, is Ryan Poles. So does Ryan Poles get a thumbs down, obviously, for taking Valus, but possibly at the request of Flus, but hopefully a thumbs up selecting Xavier at the request of Ben Johnson? So how does that work?
Oh, okay. You know what? We will set up a show to have this conversation because there's so many gray areas, and we ain't gonna agree with what I think is it's a simple marriage of this is your team. This team should be built in your image, and the players that we acquire should have what you want. And we're gonna move around from there, but we got to close the show out because I got a show to finish, man. We already been here an hour too long, in my opinion.
All right, let's get out of here. I'll just say this again: if that team is built in the image of an absolute idiot, then that does explain our fate during that period of time. So maybe you're bang on right. I don't know. Maybe it's all Flus. Maybe. I don't know. But like what I can tell you is the difference in genius level between Matt Eberflus versus Ben Johnson will inherently make Ryan Poles look like a heck of a genius moving forward too.
Is this your close?
This is basically my close to your question, but my close to get out of the show. Peace, y'all. Sunday night. Thanks for coming to Nomad at Night. Catch us on Wednesday for some extra sauce. Kids out.
Indeed, and shout out to everybody. And I put this out on Twitter. Congratulations to the Knicks for winning the NBA championship. Now fuck off. And look forward to seeing everybody Wednesday night for some extra sauce. Make sure you subscribe to all three of the networks. The Nomad Network, at Keds of Canuck, and at RRSCS Sports Chicago Style.
Oh, one last thing. Watch some damn soccer out there, y'all. There's some badass soccer being played. World Cup's actually super fun. Anyways.
That was cold. Trip's cold. Boy, you in a cold ass mood right now. God damn, that was cold. Could have just said congratulations and moved on.
You know what I'm saying? But they're just total assholes about it. It's like act like you've been there before.
New Yorkers by nature are pretty obnoxious, but that's just New York.
Yeah, exactly. just by nature they're obnoxious, and that's not a compliment.
Yeah, they are, man. But that's the personality over there on the East Coast. I mean, but the New Yorkers they waited 53 years for that, and good on them, man. It was I've seen some crazy basketball out of that organization, but somehow, man, they was able to rally it together and get one, man. I'm actually happy for them, man, because when the Knicks are good, just like when the Bears are good, the whole league is good. You know what I mean? So it's one of those kind of franchises in another league, man. So that's just the way that works, and you enjoy that game a whole lot more when those guys are successful, because it's just the way the stuff rolls out, man. But thank you guys for being here, and again, make sure you check out everybody on Sports Chicago Style and on Kids Canuck. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the content on all 3 channels. Of course, over here on the Nomad Network, we appreciate you guys being here. Again, man, I just want to reiterate that some of the players we're going to be talking about here in this dark period before they get back in the training camp are just opportunities that may be available for us. It's important that we know who some of these people are, if for nothing, no other reason other than that, just to know who they are. So if you guys, no maniacs are off the chain anyway. Y'all know football as well as any fan base I've ever seen. And I watch a lot of fan base content. Or I used to, but I still peek in at once in a while. But I used to watch a lot, and some of these fan bases are dumb as all shit when it comes to football, but not us, man. Over here on this channel, the No Maniacs know this ball. And I'll just challenge you all, whoever we bring up on the screen, any of those players that we've been talking about, just go do a little bit of leg work on them and just have a little something to say next week or in the comment section after the show. We will respond to all of that, man. But just do a little due diligence on it, and I would be appreciative of it, because we just want to lay out what the attributes are, if they fit, why or why not. It's good stuff to talk about right now, because I guarantee you, I just say 1 to 2 of those guys we're going to talk about in this little period, they'll end up on the Bears. I'll put my hat and hang that on that. There'll be a couple of guys we talk about is going to end up on the Bears. And you'll be like, damn, no, man. Well, at least you got a guy in the fan base that's willing to go do the work. So thank you guys for being here one more time. I appreciate these 2 guys on the screen, my bros. I just want to leave you guys with these famous words: love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.